Bantha.
Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We are the Star Wars guys, and we are here to talk about the Book of Boba Fett, Episode 2, Chapter 2.
Ooh,
Money
start
in
out
the
with a
jar.
dinger.
Oh, man, he's
Money
already
in the
starting
jar.
with cash in the jar.
Jing.
Chapter 2, and we're here to dive into all things Boba Fett. We are your hosts, as always. I'm Mike. We've got Nate. You know him well, Uncle. And joining us today, special guest, longtime friend of the show, longtime friend.
That's
For
right.
some of us, new time friend for Uncle.
New time
That's
free.
right.
New time friend.
Yeah.
Joe Marxkors. Thanks for being on the
Yeah.
show, Joe.
Joe, us outside of family, is Joe the first guest we've had? Maybe.
I think so.
I think so.
I think so.
So
in the,
welcome.
in the uncle
Welcome.
era. at
In the
least.
uncle era,
that's
for sure.
true.
There may have been pre
That's
you.
true. You're thinking before.
Pre-uncle. Yeah.
Well, before the dog time.
Hold the empire.
Before the uncle.
Before the dog.
That's when the video and the lights, the video,
It's
the
like-
audio
man.
quality, everything
Yeah,
went
it's
up.
the High Republic days.
I
Yeah.
love it. Hey, chat, welcome. Chat's already lit. We got Parker, Ayo, Jay Thomas. John, what's up? Thanks for
Oh, Jay
tuning in.
Thomas.
Let's go.
Ooh, it's a feedback loop. Oh, no. Force is strong with the podcast.
If you don't know what happened, we got some audio playing back. I like it.
Love it.
We're
Love it,
tuning
bro.
in. We're all trying to monitor the chat. So, as always, we like to try to keep this as engaging with the viewers, with you all as possible. So, continue to let us know your take. If any question comes up, throw it in the chat. We will try to address it here live on the show. And with today's special guest, Joe, you'll get some of his insight as well. So, to kick it off,
Yeah.
overall, let's just start. Overall,
Ooh.
compared to Chapter 1, how did you all like Chapter 2 of the Book of Boba Fett?
Just overall thoughts?
Yeah.
I really loved Chapter 2. I really liked Chapter 1. I really liked it. We talked about it for 2 hours on the podcast. I really liked it. It was what I wanted with the first episode. Set the state. It really gave us a little tease into some of the backstory, gave us some answers. Obviously, I'm still talking about Chapter 1. Gave us some backstory, gave us the Sarlacc stuff, a little bit of stuff with the Tusken Raiders, and then started pushing the story forward with the current timeline with the crime lord Boba Fett. But
I am the
this one I really, really loved. It gave me, especially in that second half, gave me Solo vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big fan of Solo, and we'll get into the specifics there that remind me of Solo. But it was action, adventure, just we'll get into it. But I loved it. I'll refrain because we have a lot of time to
We got a
get
lot
into
of
the
time.
specifics.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
Me too. I loved the new characters. They're not new characters, but
Oh,
they're
yeah,
new
yeah.
for the series.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good to see the twins.
The twins.
Uh-huh.
Fantastic.
Not those
That-
twins. Not Luke and Leia.
Not those.
Right.
Not those twins, kids. No, one of my bets was that we would see Huts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I've been
missed.
calling
bet.
that from since
We
what,
got another.
Mando?
We got two chapters with Camino in both chapters.
That's true.
It's cool.
That's true.
We got to see the Ithorian,
Yes, we
the mayors
did.
and Ithorian, which is like
yeah.
Very
what
cool.
a cool
The little
character.
translator.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very
Awesome.
cool, yeah.
Loved it. And I think I'm gonna reveal this at some point. Maybe
Oh,
I
no.
think
He's been teasing this pre-episode.
I can't stand it. I think in the episode when he had his awakening, when the lizard took him on the path,
Yeah.
Sure.
I think in that moment it may explain why it took him so long to retrieve his armor. I think I have a reason why.
I can't wait. And you're just teasing that now. We're
Tease
gonna-
it.
We'll
We'll come
do
back
that
to it.
next chapter, next show.
Oh.
No, we can talk about it now. You want to talk about it now? You want to talk about it now?
Yeah,
Talk
let's
about it now.
get
Let's get
Joe's
Joe's
input.
thoughts.
Let's get Joe's
I
thoughts
forgot.
real quick.
It's not just us three.
Yeah.
I know. We're getting used to having
I
a
was
guest.
ready to
on
wait.
Fourth wheel over here.
No, we're excited.
What do you
Joe,
think
tell
of
us
the
your
chapter?
thoughts.
That's
What
a
do you think?
great hat too. by
Oh
the way.
yeah, if you guys can't see that
I
hat,
love
by
it.
the way, it is fantastic. Little Star Wars stormtrooper.
Yeah, I mean, you got to. No, I loved it. It was very humanizing. I feel like all of the Raiders like character development
Oh,
of
for sure.
of like oh, they don't have names, whatever, the leader and the
Yeah.
the warrior trainer and
chief
the
and
kid.
Yeah.
Like the kid gets so excited when he comes back. It's like
Right.
just like
Yeah.
pure joy and just it was very humanizing.
Yeah.
I love that. It was overall it felt fast. Like the way it started, the Jabba's palace
Sure.
goes into Mos Espa and twins arrive. He goes back, and all of a sudden, flashback, and then the whole episode's like a flashback.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's like a biker gang.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Right.
Just, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Tashi,
Yeah.
Tashi Station.
Yeah,
I know.
I just it's the whole vibe
Yeah.
is so fast, but not super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
Love it. The tribes. What was it? The Tribes of Tatooine?
Tribes of
Yeah.
Tatooine.
Tribes of Tatooine.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
say, because Joe hit on something there. There's tons of stuff. I even wrote down some notes for this one because while I was watching it, I was like, I don't want to forget
We
that.
don't do notes.
Eh?
Wow.
Oh,
We do
broke
now.
the
We're
rules.
changing.
That's awesome.
Wrote down some notes. But one of the big things from the episode, for sure, what Joe is hitting on is the characterization, the humanizing of the Sand People, the Tusken Raiders, and one thing that stuck out with me when finishing the episode is I don't think I'll ever watch, or I will never experience. Forever, my experience of A New Hope will change. When you see the Tusken Raiders,
Yeah.
Changes
you'll
everything.
always have in the back, like, oh wait, and I do like that they distinguish too of not all of our tribes are the same.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Some of
that's
us
true.
survived by killing.
Right.
True.
Other of us have survived by hiding and
True.
had to do all that stuff. I just thought it was great. It gives a much deeper layer and look into just their way of life, but then also it's very important. We always talk about this on the podcast. The different characters, when we talk about like if there'll be a cameo or if there'll be this person, we always come back to we're okay with it and we understand it if it serves the story of the
It's
main
gonna move
character.
the story forward.
Yeah.
And what the Tusken Raiders is huge, I think, for
Yeah.
Boba, other than just reviving him, kind of him being kind of reborn with them. He's also the reason why I think that they're given the flashbacks of this particular episode and this storyline with the train sequence, the railway, that whole thing,
Yeah.
is what's going to come into effect when he's being the crime lord leader. And it's about like how do you work with others? How do you work
Sure.
within a family? How do you still get what you want, but also how can you be a leader? And a lot of the stuff, this is just jumping ahead, but one of the things that stuck out to me at the end of that whole train sequence with the Pikes, and we'll get into the Pikes a little bit here.
Yeah.
But at the end, he's the one, the chief, everyone else is taking a step back. Boba's sitting there on the crate, and he's got the water now, just drinking freely, and he's got water, and it's not looking good for you. And he's talking to the guy, and it's like, this is Boba's show now.
It is,
And
man.
he's
Yeah.
very much the leader as far as, not that like he's going to be the leader of the Tuskens forever, but the leader of this particular mission.
Mhm.
Right.
And him serving not only himself, but also helping everyone
Yeah.
else, which is that ties back to that line of why talk of conflict when cooperation can make us all rich. Is like if we work together,
Right.
we can all eat, we can all get
Right.
this stuff. And I just thought
That's
that
right.
the things he learned specifically, and we'll get into more of that with
Sure.
the training sequences and all that, but the things he learned tie into I think the
Sure.
troubles and
Yeah.
trials that are ahead for crime lord
Yeah,
Boba
when the-
Fett.
Yeah.
When the mayor says running a family is different, Boba's like, I already know that.
Yeah.
You don't really know who I am.
Yeah.
Right.
You're thinking
Yep.
me of that guy. That's not the same guy.
Yes.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was gonna point that out too. That quote. You mentioned the family, and then the mayor
Yeah.
had the quote about running
Yeah.
a family is different,
It's
and
different.
which I took it as like this is hard. It's a lot harder than just being a bounty hunter. And he's
Right.
like, I'm not a bounty hunter, and they're like, well, I've heard otherwise. Like
Yeah.
that's what you're known as.
Right.
So we're kind of seeing that identity shift, not just from him trying to convince people too, but also his legacy of Boba Fett around the galaxy is like he is the bounty hunter.
Yep.
Now it's him trying to let people know he's going to be a lot more than that.
Yep.
So I think it'll
For
be
sure.
interesting to see that character develop. But I think personally, I love the episode. I came out immediately. I think I made like a TikTok and was like, this is one of my favorite hours of Star Wars. It just felt very Star Wars. Jay Thomas said felt very Western. I agree,
Mhm.
which always kind of seemed Star Wars, like space Western in a way. So it felt very like OG trilogy,
Mhm.
even though we see a lot more of the hit, like this tribe of the Tusken Raiders. See a lot more that we haven't really seen of them before.
Yeah.
But it still felt like Star Wars. It still felt the same. Like we get some little cameos with like Tashi Station and those little things, but then they introduce some of the deeper lore of like
Mhm.
Black K and some of these new characters,
Right,
the twins
right,
that come
right.
in. So I thought it was cool seeing I don't even know how to say his name,
Chrysanthemum?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chrysanthemum.
Black Chrysanthemum,
Yeah, so Black K, I guess we'll stick with that.
Gladiator Wookiee.
Yeah, so it was cool
Yeah.
seeing him and just
Bad
knowing
dude.
him from some of the deeper lore, some of the comics, and like you mentioned it, Outer Rim.
Outer
A
Rim.
board
Great
game that we
We'll
have.
have to do on here sometime. But it's cool seeing
Let's
those
do it right
characters
now.
come in. Yeah, let's pull out, roll up
Outer
dice.
Rim.
We told you we just wing it.
Quick 3-hour game.
We're sorry if you tune in for Boba Fett.
I get
we're
Boba
playing
Fett.
a board
We're
game now.
playing a board game now. But yeah, so loved it, and it's only chapter 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it just made me more and more excited for the show. I am interested though, because I kind of want to hear what Uncle is gonna say about his theories. So let's
Ooh,
hear
it's
it.
gonna be good. I don't know if it's gonna be good.
It's just
I
love
caught
the
it the
tease.
second. You want to hear it?
Yeah,
Let's hear it.
I want
Let's
to
hear
hear
it.
it.
I caught it the second time. So here's the thing, right? So the big question is, filming in on the time again. We got Boba Fett coming out of the Sarlacc,
Mm-hmm.
and then we got Boba Fett, who is tracking down his armor with Mando.
Yes.
What's the time? What's the time there? How many years?
The time
for
between,
for not the flashback, but for
he's
the
saying the
present
time
day.
between
Yeah.
but the time
Yeah.
between Jabba's sail barge explodes essentially
Yep.
and the
And
time
Mando.
We see
Mando.
Boba Fett on the hillside tracking Mando.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
long is that?
I can't remember the exact years. It's between like 5 and 8 years.
Yeah. Okay.
I believe it's
Something like that.
So in past, we've talked about. To me, that may have been the biggest hurdle. Like, why did it take him so long to track it down? And you could say he'd been looking the whole time, but Mando showed up on Tatooine and found it in like half an hour.
And apparently
Right?
Cobb Vanth had been
Yeah.
parading around in it.
Been telling everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
They asked, "Oh yeah, there's one guy," and everybody kind of knew he's the
Mhm.
marshal.
Yeah.
So I found that to be not the right reason that he couldn't find it.
Yeah.
But when I'm watching this, I realized. Remember in the scene when he's walking through the desert and he was having that vision, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, it cuts back and
Yeah.
forth to armor, no armor.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Armor, no armor.
Great scene, by the way. The shot.
I
Very
know.
Going back and forth. Very cool.
And he's in that. I guess it's maybe the Sarlacc pit, kind of like
yeah.
armor, no armor, armor, no armor. He pulls that branch down. He breaks the branch. In that moment, we don't see the armor anymore.
Yeah.
And I think what has happened is he has made a breakthrough to where Boba Fett doesn't need the armor anymore.
Yeah.
Boba Fett is now a different man.
Yeah.
He's in this tribe.
You just reminded me of something.
He's a different man now. The armor
Breaking
isn't
free from the old identity.
isn't
and
Yeah.
everything
isn't
that-
his identity anymore.
Yeah.
He's different.
No, I agree. I
so
think.
then he stopped looking because it wasn't
Yeah.
but then something's going to change and make it important again. And I think I
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
that is too.
No, I think 100%. Immediately as you're saying that, it took me to the moment in Marvel, for you Marvel fans, where Tony is telling Peter Parker.
Oh yeah, if you
He's like,
If
I'm
you're
nothing
nothing
without the
without the
suit.
suit.
He's like, all right, so if you're nothing without the suit,
then,
right? He's like,
yeah.
if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it.
you should have right.
And that's kind of, I feel like what you're kind of saying is like Boba's realizing, am I dependent on the suit? Am I dependent on the armor? Or like he's having a breakthrough of, am I much more than just, is Boba Fett not just the armor? It's me.
It's a theory.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned the MCU too, because I was also getting like Black Panther vibes of like the scene where he's like talking to his father. It's like a spiritual kind
Yeah.
of scene,
Yeah,
or
true.
like near the
Right.
tree.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what it kind of felt like. Also, just while we're watching this, first of all, let's not bury the lead. A lizard goes right up his brain. And
Right.
yeah.
Well, what I was expecting.
And also, because we talked about this in our previous episode. I can say episode because I'm talking about our podcast.
Yeah.
Easy chat.
Wow.
The Tamora Morrison's acting, especially in that whole scene with the lizard and stuff, is
Oh,
just
yeah.
phenomenal and hilarious.
yeah.
A lizard. Well, thank you. It's just
I
like,
will let it
he's
guide
like, I don't
me.
want to be disrespectful. Yeah, I'll
Thank
let
you.
this guide me.
Let it guide me.
And then it goes into his. Oh,
Think I
sorry,
swallowed it.
I think I swallowed it. It's like
Swallowed it.
Just want a little bugger.
I'm sorry.
Swallowed it, bugger. Oh my God.
It's so great. But yeah, just as that's happening, we're like, what is going on? And then he's going on this kind of trippy vision and stuff. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden the water around the tree and
Yeah.
stuff
Right.
too, again, gives you, I mean, there's a multiple different like symbolism and stuff, but immediately when we think of his past too, the water immediately ties back
That's
to
the
Camino
childhood.
again too. It's just,
He was raised on a water planet from the youngest.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot
That's-
there in that scene, but
That's my theory. It may play out. I don't know.
do we think, and I'll send this over to Joe here for this setup too, but I think it ties what you're saying. We think that eventually something happens. Do we think that that is a tragedy that is going to befall his Tusken Raider family,
Mm.
which causes him to,
That's what I think.
okay,
Go back.
now I may be changed, but I'm meeting somewhere in the middle of I'm not a bounty hunter anymore. I've learned this stuff, but also I have a power and I can enforce it to make sure that stuff like this doesn't happen again. To make sure this unorganized chaos is not going to happen.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be a crime lord, we're going to do things with respect and this and this and this. There's going to be an order to it. Boba's not going to open a he's not going to work at a charity somewhere. He's still going to be a crime lord.
That's
so
right.
this
Right,
he's
right.
not. There's not a complete redemption where
tribute.
he's just a nun now moving forward.
No.
So something happens that gets him to the point where he wants to be a crime lord. He leaves the group that's now fully accepted him,
Right.
but he continues to wear when he gets the armor. He wears that Tusken, the Tusken apparel
Underneath, the
garb.
black,
underneath.
yeah.
Joe, what do you think? Any predictions as far as do we think his tribe of Tuskens, that there's a happy ending to this story, or that we're spending a lot of time with it because it's going to be that much more tragic when that child and that
Yeah.
warrior and
Yeah.
the chief all fall? What are your thoughts there?
I mean, it would make sense. Obviously, like, he's not just gonna stay there forever, which is kind of what it feels like right now. Like he's like,
Yeah.
They're
Right.
certainly
he's
spending a
staying
lot
with
of time with him.
Yeah, he's training with them. He's ceremonially brought in with this
Yeah.
dance, and he makes his weapon. Which I was side note, that was a dope.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, that was cool.
that
Super
was
cool.
cool.
So cool.
But yeah, I was thinking like, how does he leave this? I don't know if it's gonna be tragedy or if he's just like, I got my
Yeah.
calling, I gotta go now.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how they would play that. A tragedy makes sense,
Yeah.
right? Because then he's like you said, that
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting because like what you guys are mentioning, the tragedy thing, before you had mentioned the tragedy thing, I was actually processing, trying to think like, what is the motive? Like, he's got the speeder bikes. He can just take off when he wants.
Yeah.
He was a slave. I mean, basically, at first, he was a captive to them, right?
Mhm.
So he was a prisoner, and what is his motive for sticking around other than just like being nice and helping them out when he's got the bikes and he can take off and go? And is there more to that of like, is it more than just these people have taken me in, I'm helping them? Or is it like, I'm learning from them too? Because he tells them, teach me that.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a power and you're skilled, obviously.
We couldn't stand up to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah. and he's realizing that this is another fighting style.
Right.
I'm bounty hunter. I don't have my guns with me. I don't
Right.
have my jetpack with me.
No
I don't
tricks.
have my armor. Yeah, there's no tricks. So is part of that also like, I'm learning from you. Like, I'm helping you guys,
Mhm.
but I can, you guys are helping me just as much. And that's part of why he's sticking around. And
Yep.
then it grows into more of that. And then that leads to kind of what you might be saying of now he's got a connection. He helped them take tolls, and they have to pass through the
He set them up. Yeah.
So I mean, is that
He
all
helped
that
them out.
connection that the storytelling is building, so that when a tragedy happens, it's more tragic?
The fact that we keep using the phrase "the tragedy" and he was introduced in an episode called "The Tragedy."
The Tragedy.
in Boba Fett.
True.
I'm not saying we wrote Boba Fett because we certainly did not. We're just
No.
using this phrase.
right.
But there's a lot of tragedy surrounding
Yeah.
Boba, and I think that there's.
Yeah.
I do feel. Do we think Betts going around the circle here?
Boba Betts?
Moon or whatever shape this is.
Boba Betts?
Do we think? Yeah, we can play some Boba Betts.
All right.
How much longer do we think they spend on the Tusken storyline?
Flashbacks?
As far as this, because like Joe was saying, we spent a lot of time on it already, especially last in chapter 2. It's the kind of the forward moving storyline of the present day
Yeah.
with the crime lord stuff and the twins and all of that, and then it's like 3/4 of.
I was gonna say we've
of
got way
Tuskens.
more
There's a
screen
lot of
time.
Tuskens.
Yeah.
Do we feel like that is a pattern that will continue throughout? Do you think that these flashbacks will continue throughout the season, or this is like a? Do we think maybe the next chapter 3, might be the thing that happens with the Tuskens, and now it's just now we're caught up with his backstory, and now it's just Boba moving forward, or what do we think the balance of that's going to be throughout, if there is? I don't know if that's a specific bet, but just thoughts.
Yeah. Maybe I can ask a qualifying question too.
Oh,
So-
wow.
if there are
Hello.
two, if you can think of this in the way of two storylines,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
have the flashback storyline and we have the current time. What is his mission in either of those?
Right.
If I answer that question, I think his mission in the first one is to figure out what he's going to do now. I think maybe
Yeah, it's
Sure.
an identity.
who he is now.
Yeah.
because he doesn't have the armor. Who am I now? Am I still a bounty hunter? Am I not? And he's discovering a different side of himself.
Sure.
In the future one, he's establishing his crime syndicate there.
Yeah.
So I don't think the first storyline is. I don't think the first storyline finishes until we get to that scene in Mando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
You mean the scene where he sees him speeding by?
Yeah.
That scene.
I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
that's where that timeline ends.
Yeah.
But it may not be. It may not be Sand People. It may be them for a while and then something else for a while. But I think I feel like the flashbacks are going to keep. They're going to keep both storylines going. That would be my bet.
Because it's interesting that this is not called just Boba Fett. It's very
book.
specifically and intentionally called the Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
And it's not just because it's called Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, because it's not the Book of Mandalorian, and they still do that. But so it does feel like it is chapters kind of in his life and filling in these pieces and parts, and then also going to tell you the following chapters.
Yeah.
What do you think, Joe?
I mean, so I could see it being like one episode of like flashbacks. But to Uncle's point, I also could see it just side by side, like this is his story.
Yeah.
And just kind of writing that through. So I'll be willing to put like a gram of spice on the.
Ooh, spice bets.
1 gram of spice.
1 gram of spice.
I think I'll call yours.
Interesting. He didn't go the credit route.
No,
He went
I think
spice.
we got a little. That was a little insight into Joe's extracurriculars.
Okay.
Hey,
He's had a running in with the.
I didn't have any
Tuskens.
spice to wager.
I do everything over the table, so I will match that with some calamari flan.
Right.
Calamari flan.
I love us betting grams of spice.
That's
So awesome.
He said a gram of spice.
Gram of spice.
I think it's a kilo, but that's okay.
I'll throw some Beskar down.
Ooh.
Ooh, Beskar.
Beskar.
That's a raise, I think.
That's a raise.
That's
To say steep bet.
Mine, Kyber Crystal all in.
It's just wager.
Oh man.
No, I think what you're saying about them continuing with, especially going off the title, maybe we're reading too into it, but Book of Boba Fett, I think they might continue going the flashbacks. I do think it's interesting though that they, at least in the last episode, I don't remember how much so in the first episode, but chapter, gosh, they got me. Jar.
Ding.
Are we gonna do
got
that?
him.
Really?
We've talked about it for what 2 years? I think 2 years.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
I do think it's interesting that they're spending so much more time. Like in a matter of screen time, we're seeing we saw 2/3 maybe of that episode, maybe more.
Very
A lot.
purposeful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're really intentionally building up that relationship with the Tusken Raiders. I thought it was interesting too. I want to give credit. I think it was. I saw this video on TikTok. Maybe it was. I think his account is Jedi Connor. Maybe I follow a lot of Star Wars guys on TikTok. Pointed out that in Mando, this is now not flashback. They cross through Tusken territory, and they have to pay a fee. They got to pay a fee to cross. And someone said, hey, I don't know. And he was mentioning, I don't know if you guys caught this, just a little thing. Now they're paying fees to cross.
That's
It could have
right.
been a different tribe, I don't know, of Tuskens. But
it's a thing.
notice they had to pay to cross the, what do you call the sea? What was it?
The Dune Sea.
The Dune Sea. To cross the Dune Sea, they had to pay a toll.
Love it.
So I thought that was interesting because then we saw that play out with stopping the train and you now have to charge and the long speeder.
We got a comment from Sarah. It's helpful. Joe's got a different mic. She said it's kind of hard to hear you. Might need to just
hello.
put it in
There
there
you
close.
go.
Does that look better? Say something.
Hello.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
that's
voice
better.
is strong with
Let's
that
go.
one.
All right, cool. Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, thanks for letting us know.
Deal with it.
Big look.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well,
Do you have a bet on the flashbacks?
I forgot I posed the question.
You posed the question. We didn't get to hear
Yeah,
your.
I'm going Commodus. This is Gladiator right now. I will say
It was what? How long we think we'll have the flashbacks? And
Yeah.
I'll say thumbs up.
Flashbacks
And then
continue.
everyone can decide what that means.
All right.
No, no, I do
All
think
right.
it continues. I think I'm with Joe here as far as I feel like the flashbacks will continue. I think that's big. I think that it's a big part of his character is that he is. I think the Bacta tank is huge for him because it's him physically healing, but it's also symbolic that he is, like you said, he's not, when he climbed out of the Sarlacc pit, he's not whole.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he gets his butt kicked.
Yeah.
Some Jawas even knock him out right away.
Right.
But also that like you said, kind of being reborn as far as finding his identity of what he is. Part of the thing I think he'll wrestle with is eventually some identity stuff of him being a clone, or him being a clone that's different than the rest of the clones, a Mandalorian who's different than the rest of the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
That there's this tie there, which could tie into maybe Din showing up maybe at the end of the season. I do think there's a tie to maybe getting back to. I think
I want to come back to that too.
I do think this is. I was supposed to be talking about the Tusken Raiders here,
or flashbacks.
So I'll quickly answer the flashback thing and then back to that. But I do think that the Tusken Raider main storyline of this part of the flashbacks will probably go, I would say at the most, and I wouldn't be upset if it goes longer. I would say 2 more chapters at the most. I wouldn't be surprised if the next one
with the Tusken Raiders.
With the Tusken Raiders.
And then we have other stuff.
And then I think we have other stuff that's maybe we even go further back, or maybe we go. I love the additional shots they keep showing of Daniel Logan, the original child actor.
Yeah.
But they're showing some shots we haven't seen before of like him out the window watching his father go away and giving us like that longer headshot of him staring into the helmet a little bit longer. Like we've seen him hold it, and we saw that in obviously Attack of the Clones, but like the one where he's just right over top. I like they keep showing that, and I don't think it's just like, hey, just you remember his backstory. Bang. Like I do think they everything that that Favreau and Filoni they do stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Previously on Lost.
I thought you were gonna do it first. The Clone Wars. Previously on Boba Fett.
On the Clone Wars.
2 giant slugs are carried in on a litter. What will they do next? Find out. So I think 1 to 2 episodes is what I would guess.
With this, I think that's.
But with the previous chapter, I remember just literally watching the end of that whole train sequence and going like, heck, I could watch the whole show based on just even this backstory of Trace, even though I don't think I do think that they introduce the twins and Black Chrysanthemum and stuff because they have big plans for them. So I don't think that it's going to be just dwelling in the past. I think a lot of it's going to be what he does moving forward.
Man, we got Huts. We got Huts.
What was the thing I told you to remember? I'm lost.
I was saying the Mando thing, which I do want to come back to.
Yeah, showing up.
I just think I think that he'll be called into taking a stance in the where he stands with the Battle of Mandalore as far as Darksaber. Din doesn't want it. Right. I don't think that necessarily it's like, oh, Boba wants it, but they've been told that the planet, they tease this in Mando, that the planet's turned to glass, it's uninhabitable. Other people say, no, it actually is inhabitable. It just needs to be retaken. Boba, you've got armor. You've helped us in the past. I think that he will be asked whether he takes the call, answers the call or not. I don't know, but I could see I could see a Din showing up like at the very end of this show, and it's like, and Boba either wants it or doesn't want it, but asking to get involved.
Yeah.
That's what.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I think you're onto something. I definitely think the Mando 2 things. I think 1, it could come in the way you're saying, too. I also think it could come into play potentially with Boba, which we talked a little bit about this in our last podcast episode about him realizing it's just us with the if I'm running a crime lord thing, I might need
gotta
more
get some
people to send out to do stuff.
Right.
And just because he's had a good encounter with Mando, that might be someone he could reach out to. And then in this one, they tease the running a family is different than being a bounty hunter. So that is also another thing that's like, if you're saying you're the crime lord, you're more than just a bounty hunter. Where are your people? Mm-hmm. Because right now it's 2 of you and 2 pigs walking behind you. And that's
right. That's it.
So I mean,
we still haven't gotten that scene from the trailers of them all sitting down at the table.
So I'm
Ellie asked what the next episode is going to be called, and I'm going to go with the meeting again.
The meeting?
I'm throwing that out there.
I like that too.
The business meeting?
The business meeting.
The meeting of minds.
Yeah, the round table. No.
The round table.
Round table discussion.
Yeah.
I think the meeting. I'm holding on to that too.
Because it's gotta be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because what was one of our Boba Betts from last time was that we'd get the meeting in this episode.
Get the meeting in the episode. We'd see the Transdojians and all that stuff.
That was a bust. We lost that bet.
A Boba bust.
Boba
A
Bust.
Boba Bust.
Boo.
Bust.
Oh, keep
Wow.
the thing going.
We hit
Boba
the
Boom or Boba Bust?
Boba Boom.
Boba
or
Boom was
Boba
the Huts
Bust?
though. We got the Huts finally.
Boba Bear
Do
or
we need
Bull?
to have
What's
a
this
Boba
market like?
Fantasy League as well? Boba Bingo. Oh, Boba Bingo.
man.
Boba Bingo.
If you
Who
see
had-
these things,
Who
you
had
put it
Zero
on
the Hut? No, but you're close.
Oh,
You got a
man.
different Hut.
You had a Hut.
You had a Hut.
I also just want to say real quick, if you guys are tuning in in the chat or you're listening back to this, continue commenting or submitting your questions stuff. We'll try and get to those throughout the stuff. So if we miss it, feel free to comment again, and we'll try to address those. So if we miss a question or something, we don't do that intentionally. One of the things I saw John J. Thomas, my man,
Hey.
put on here, Boba Bett.
Ooh.
It's
official.
Will we get Boba and a black chrysanthemum in a gladiator ring? Joe, what do you think?
Yes, because I want to see that. 100%
do
want
wanna
to
see
see
it.
that.
100%.
That would be
I
crazy.
need that.
A gladiator ring. I think
need
that'd be
that.
crazy.
Yes.
Right when they go to face off, Black Chrysanthemum's got his armor and stuff, and he's about to go, and all of a sudden Boba just walks out and takes his helmet off, and he goes, like a banta. Just
He
confused.
pulls up on the
we know
bantha.
each other.
We
know
each other.
He's a friend from. We both work for Jabba.
No,
That would be
Bigfoot
cool.
tuna,
That would be very cool.
Just the gladiator ring would be.
That would be
Awesome.
crazy. And what
Would
if
be.
it's
What else
in
would-
the ring on Geonosis?
What else would the Huts do but sit around and
That'd be crazy.
why not?
Yeah.
Sit around and watch people
I just
kill each
love
other.
that we got more huts.
Man,
We
it's
talked
know.
about it. We're like, it makes sense. But then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking logistically, like, will they spend money on it? Will it be practical? Is it going to be
I thought it looked
they've
great.
done? I thought it looked
Yeah.
awesome. They
Yeah.
did the digital route.
thought
And
they
it
did
looked
great.
really
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
The guys, one
They
of my
even had 'em
favorites, the guys
struggling.
holding 'em
They
and,
must have
like,
had something
struggling
on
to-
there.
I know. That whole scene, by the way, I was thinking Boba or Fennec just needs to just shoot one of those people and the whole thing comes crumbling down. Like if one of the people in front gets shot, the whole thing's just
Right.
tilting and the slugs are now rolling
On
around.
that note,
Yeah.
Uncle said pre-show. Now that's a litter.
That is a.
I
That
do
is
think
a
that's
litter.
intentional too. Of
We
a
did
couple
see
things
your
that
litter.
happened in this
Mhm.
Yeah.
chapter. I almost said the
Chapter.
word. The mayor. We finally meet the mayor. I think we did make a Boba Bett
Would we
previous
meet the mayor?
chapter of Would We Meet the Mayor?
I think I busted on that one.
I think I said we
it
would.
I think
I
you
said
did.
it'd be like 4 episodes from
We
now
did.
because they're gonna
We
build
did
them
try
up.
to. We did try to guess who the hitmen were from.
Yes.
Yeah.
I said they were from the Huts, and I think you guys said they were from the mayor.
The mayor, yeah, I think I did say that.
Turns out they were teased to be from the mayor. and
Could still be from
could still be.
from the
Yeah.
Huts.
True.
We don't know.
The Order of the Night Wind. I don't want to skip over that.
Oh, right.
Yes.
That was a cool. I like.
Right.
Fennec goes overpriced. You pay for the name.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
such a
right.
great comment of like, listen, I had 2 of them. I kicked one off the roof and I
picked
brought
one.
the other one here. They're
Right.
not that great.
Yeah. But real quick, when that happened, because at first I thought, okay, these are just a group of guys that showed up. But then you add that context, it made me look at Fennec even more like, wait, these are master assassins, and you took him out that easily?
Yeah.
I'm like, must be crazy.
You can't
to be
forget
that-
when what Mando said when
Yeah.
oh, what's his name? The wannabe bounty hunter, up and comer. One of my least
Yeah,
favorite
right.
characters of Mandalorian. But
Cringe.
yeah, though he's
Cringe. this
essentially
guy.
the Han wannabe. He's got his feet up in
Yeah.
the spot and everything, which I think is intentional. Immediately he's got his feet in
Right.
Han's spot, and us as fans go, I hate you. I think immediately you're not anything like him.
Exactly.
But when he's talking about, I'm going after Fennec Shand, man is like, that's a horrible idea.
You're dead.
That's-
Yeah.
Don't like
You're
even
dead.
I wouldn't go after it. Like that's not.
Yeah.
And they just remind you again when these are paid assassins, overpriced. You pay for the name. Really.
Right.
Great.
Awesome.
But the mayor, the mayor's major domo again. I love. Well, first of all, let's go to like the very 70s looking clerk, who's got the mustache and the
Oh,
long
man,
hair, and he's just like
so
sitting there.
perfect.
It's just, I thought it was
Senior
very,
man.
very
Yeah.
funny. The dry humor,
Yeah,
and
the
then
point
again, they're like,
man,
"Oh, you didn't see your litter," and like it just throwing it in his face again.
yeah.
Of, Boba doesn't have a litter at this point. Like this is just that again, the political jargon nonsense that Boba's like, I am not here for at all.
Mhm.
And then, the mayor is predisposed at the moment. They're like, okay, we're walking around.
Right.
We're walking
Yes.
around you and going back.
Yeah. Oh, this button? Yeah. Okay. we'll
This
get
one-
in
okay, yeah.
here.
The mayor himself was pretty cool. He was
Yeah.
very big gangster vibes of
Definitely.
gives a little nod, shoot him. Oh, thank you for bringing him to us. Like he shouldn't be.
Playing
He's
the
men
game.
of Jabba's. He can't be.
Shouldn't be on
operating
HUDs.
us.
Yeah.
It's very much got his hands dirty in the first 5 seconds of us meeting him.
Right.
And then very cool with the translator of the way you could hear him talk and everything. But
Interesting.
Cool character.
Interesting. Yeah, I was gonna say, I wanted to ask Joe, your thoughts on. So most of the episode we talked earlier was basically the flashback stuff, but of the new stuff in the current timeline, what did you think as far as some of the new characters, the twins, Black K, just where that storyline with the mayor is progressing? Do you have any Boba Betts or predictions for what is to come of the mayor or
Fat Bets.
Fat Bets? What do you think?
Yeah, that's it. Open book.
I like it.
GG.
Chapter.
No,
Ooh,
there's.
nice.
I definitely want to see more of Black K, Evil Chewie. Like
Evil Chewie.
such a cool character.
Yeah.
And
How menacing did he look coming around when
Oh,
they just show from
man.
behind too?
I know.
Right.
and he's like they're
Horrible.
leaving, and he gives he gives Boba the rock eyebrow. He was like, and he just turned his head,
He
gave him a little
does.
Still
eyebrow,
looks at
him.
and then walked away. I was like, he's ready. So,
Yeah. Do you think there's history there?
So
Based on the look,
yeah,
in the
because I think in the comics they met,
in
but
the comics
I don't know how they're gonna play out.
they both apparently were introduced in the same comic panel as them both of being hired. I believe back at the time, I believe it was they both were hired to find. It might have been to track down Luke Skywalker at the time. I believe it was.
I think
post,
so. I think you're
post the destruction of the first
right.
Death Star.
Okay.
And Vader. No, it was hired by Vader.
I think it was Vader, and that was back when Black.
And then
K
they
was
worked
still
for
a bounty
Jabba at a
hunter.
different time. But yeah, they were both hired to find Skywalker, and that was what they were
Boba
both.
does find him, right? They
And
have
Boba
they have a
eventually-
fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's,
Wow.
that's the history
know
there.
Black
And
K
then
was in
when they
there.
tease in like he was also a gladiator, he was also the backstory on him is he was so bad. He was so aggressive. He was banished from Kashyyyk. In
Wow.
a planet full of Wookiees who rip
You're
your
the
arms
worst
off
of
and
them
stuff like
all?
that. Even
He
they're
was
like
too
he's too
violent.
dangerous. They sent him away.
Wow.
right.
That is that very much tells you enough you
Yeah.
need to know about
Oh my goodness.
what he
And
poses
since-
as a threat.
And since you mentioned the comics too, I believe in the comics too. There's also, which is what I'm excited about,
Oh, I know where you're
with
going.
his introduction of his character. Did you guys notice a scar over his eye in this?
Mhm.
Did you notice it?
I knew it, but I
was
really
hard to
focused on it
see,
because you and
so
I talked about it a little bit.
It was hard to see though. I want to actually go back and try and pause it and look how profound it is. But was there a scar? You think there was, right?
I know that the talk
On his eye?
around the Twitter sphere was about the scar, and the
okay.
tie to another Jedi. I know you're about to mention.
So I was just gonna say for the history of
Ooh.
those who haven't read the comics, but basically, I mean, I haven't read a lot of the comics either. I kind of looked some of this stuff up after, but he has an encounter with Obi-Wan in the past,
Ooh.
and that's where he got the slice.
Do we see
the,
Black
the
K
stuff?
in the
So
Obi-Wan series?
that's
Ah.
exactly
people
where
are
I'm heading.
speculating.
Joe just hit
Probably
nail
for
on
sure
the head
then,
right there. Yeah.
right?
I think we might either see that specifically play out, would be pretty cool. But if they've already addressed that in the comics, we may not see that scene and just see some history with
Maybe,
him and Obi-Wan.
but I do think that a lot of people don't
Yeah.
see, like
No.
don't
Yeah,
see the comics. That
true.
no one's gonna be like, "Boo! This is a repeat."
Yeah.
boo,
Boo! Repeat. Boo. In Legends, they showed how he gets out of the Sarlacc pit. We didn't want to see it on screen.
That's how I watch the episodes.
Yeah,
That's the chapters. I watch them that way. Boo! I yell at the screen. Boo.
that's not what happens.
Houdini,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Houdini. Right.
So, so do you, Joe? Do you think everybody? We'll go around.
Do you think
we'll-
about
we'll
Kenobi?
get-
Is that
yeah.
what
Do
you're
you think we'll see him in Kenobi? How much spice?
How much spice?
How much
Minimal
spice you-
spice here.
Minimal spice.
Minimal
spice
spice.
on this bet.
Okay.
I would love to see it,
But will we?
but I feel like which maybe it's misdirection, but they're like pushing a lot with like, oh, Hayden Christensen's gonna be in the show.
Sure.
Anakin, Darth Vader. Ooh.
But if he was hired by Vader,
Well, then it would make sense.
maybe.
So small bet. I
Small
wouldn't
bet.
really want to. Kind of feel like they won't, but it'd be
He's like half a grain.
dope. Half agreed. Half agreed.
So it could be Boba fiction. Could be. It's not necessarily a
Boba fiction.
Boba fact or Boba fiction.
People are
not
just
necessarily
clicking away with all these.
not necessarily a Boba better happen. You're saying
Right.
it could be.
Boba
It's
better
possible.
Boba better be, but
Boba better be.
Boba bad bet.
Side note on the
Let's
Hayden
go all
Christensen
day.
stuff. Did you guys,
Got him all day.
Nate, did you see any of the Hayden Christensen officially doing his first Star Wars promo
He did?
Did he?
in 20 years?
I didn't
It was
see
like
Wow.
their campaign, like a charity thing of the Star Wars like Force for Change. It was on Twitter, and it opens. It's like Hayden talks, Kelly Marie Tran, and
Oh, wow.
someone else. I can't remember who the
Ooh.
third person was. And it was starts, and it's just Hayden Christensen talking, and he's like, Star Wars Force for Change. He's doing this whole thing and stuff, and then it ends, and it kind of zooms on. He's like, "May the Force be with you," and like everyone like was retweeting. It was like, "This is the
Wow.
first time this dude said it," and then I saw all these like comments. They're like, "The first late night appearance of Hayden Christensen on a show, actually talking about this Kenobi show, is gonna just
Massive.
Oh
be
my
so
gosh,
crazy.
can you
I can't
imagine?
believe he's back as Anakin talking about it."
Man.
It's a different podcast episode.
How
but
things
it's
change,
teasing.
right?
Yeah.
Boo.
Boo. We hate you. You're the best.
We love you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like it. I see Vincent. What's up, dude? Vincent said, Boba and Fennec fight a Rancor.
Ooh, okay. So they did have the Rancor pit.
They did.
teased the
They
Rancor.
teased us.
They seem to fill it up.
I thought at first it was what's his name? Mochi?
Mochi from
Mochi?
Manhattan?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
At first I was like,
Go.
I
is this
know.
where we're going? And then Fennec's like, it's empty.
It's
I was
empty.
like, they got us.
I
They
actually
fooled
said
us.
to my kids, "There's nothing in there."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think
We're like, huh? This guy doesn't know.
that'd be
I
pretty
just,
cool if they had a
even
Rancor.
though there was nothing there, I love seeing the
oh, the whole
same
thing.
shot,
Just shot
of
for
the
shot.
lean with the
Right.
platform moving forward and them just
Yeah.
looking down the pit.
I thought
was
the same
great.
thing when Fennec was walking up the path. I'm like, that's the same path. Luke Skywalker traveled.
Yeah.
There's so much
3PO
history
and R2 traveled that same path to get into Jabba's palace.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With the
At
gate.
the very
you mean,
when,
opening
she's,
up.
when she's
Yeah.
pulling him
Walking
in,
back.
walking him up the
Yeah.
path, same path.
So great.
Love
it. Really
so
cool.
Great. Yeah.
So cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
The little bit of a one thing I don't want to forget when we're talking about the mayor, Mok Shaiz, I believe what Boba said. I
Yeah.
just thought it was cool the way Boba was like, "I'm not a fool, Mok Shaiz." I
Right.
was like, this is just a
On
cool.
it.
I think
Yeah.
Tamora Morrison saying anything sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
Mok
we-
Shaiz sounds like Don Corleone. Like it sounds like
does.
someone who's like,
Mok
this mayor
Shaiz.
is not to be messed with.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. But I like how the mayor then leads him to the sanctuary, and Garza's sanctuary, the female,
Yeah.
Twi'lek,
Right.
who, how about the difference of her approach of
Right.
Lord Fett talking to him the first time, and now that the Hutts
Mr.
are in town, Mr. Fett, like, oh, what can I do for her? What do you
You
mean?
haven't heard.
Oh, you haven't heard? Well, I'll see if I can find
Right.
you a table somewhere. Like, imagine
Right.
saying that to
Yeah.
Vito Corleone. I'll see if I can. We're a little packed tonight. I'll see if you
Right.
can.
Right.
So immediately, all respects like out
Didn't
the
get
window.
sent out with a helmet full of tribute.
Right.
All respect is
Right.
now towards the Hutts are here. You
Mhm.
kind of had your time, but
Nice
Jabba's cousins are here.
And I think they also tried to show a little bit of the power too of being carried in with drums and stuff.
Yeah.
It showed that
the litter.
because the city knows
Mhm.
that's the reputation for the Hutts
Yeah.
in the past. Jabba.
Yeah.
Carries weight.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally.
Quite a bit.
You
Tons
hear
of weight.
that. You hear that. Everyone's thinking, oh well, they're the ones that have power.
Yeah.
So Boba trying to do it differently, even though the first go around they
That's right.
respected it because there was nothing else. As soon as they hear that, the drums and stuff,
That's
they're like,
exactly
"Oh,
right.
wait,
And how
this-
about Fennec saying their Hutts will have to get permission if we want to kill
Yeah,
them?
Who wanna
what
kill
is
him?
That's
that
again.
about?
That's
very much a made
Godfather
guy.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's Godfather
That's
stuff.
a made man.
You
Yeah.
can't. You
What's
can't
that
take
about?
out.
I want input. Why do they need permission?
I think it's. I mean, my take on it is just that it's a suicide. Like you go after,
Yeah.
you take out one of the Hutts. Like basically, they're so well connected. They have such an organization. They
Yeah.
have this power behind them that good luck surviving it. Like essentially, we have to only getting permission is like only if we have the. Essentially, I keep going back to the Godfather. It's like only if we have the other families on our side. If we have the power of,
If you do it without,
we do it without.
then
it's-
everybody will come.
everybody
Every
will come
family
for
will
you.
come after
If you
Yeah.
get some power behind you of these other people that are also ready to
Sure.
turn on them, now we have.
They won't like it, but they'll let it.
They'll let it slide
Sure.
because
Let
it's
it
not
pass.
worth all the bloodshed. But if the bloodshed is just Boba and Fennec, they don't. The crime syndicate doesn't
But,
care.
you know,
All of them don't care. Bad for business.
But you know,
Yeah,
Michael Corleone solved it by
you
kill
take
them
out.
all at once. You
Take
can
them
do
all
that.
out. There's no one
Then
to
start a
retaliate.
war, but it's all the lower. They don't know what to do if you kill all
Exactly.
the
Then it's just chaos below it.
So
Take out
we'll,
the heads of the families. Yeah.
We'll see.
Speaking of bloodshed, what do you think? How many more
I
rounds?
love that. I love that segue. Speaking of bloodshed,
Speaking of bloodshed,
I just made me think of some real cool.
I love that.
It's great.
How
Speaking
many
of
more
blood-
rounds of assassins do the twins send?
Ooh.
You know, the whole sleep lightly, right?
But do we know
They
that was the
do say-
twins? Maybe. I guess
Well-
Well, we do know that the twins threaten him, like you said.
That's
Sweet
true.
Lightly bounty hunter, and like
But-
to put him
Right,
back
it's
in his
true.
place
Threatening
again.
Boba.
so. Yeah. No, I agree. I don't. How many
mean-
rounds? Different,
Are
just
they-
different
Are they
waves.
just gonna like keep? It's
Each
survival
wave's
now.
got two. Yeah, it's just they
Mm.
double the.
yeah. What
assassins
is their
every
next
time.
move?
Yeah,
'Cause
I mean,
they-
they're
yeah.
obviously threatening. Like,
And they were like, we don't need to solve this today out in the streets. But
Yeah.
basically, they're like, this isn't our move of doing stuff like this in
Yeah.
public like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, this will be handled. That's
sleep
very
Yeah.
much
lightly,
that.
and he's like,
Mm.
keep an eye open.
I
Something.
sleep in a Bacta tank
That's right. With the windows
with
open.
Beskar
and the
armor.
blinds blowing.
Yeah, yeah.
They'll send a changeling. They'll send a little robot. They'll send a
There
little
you go.
worm.
I don't
The
know.
worms
That's
are the
a-
worst.
That's
situation.
a good. I think this is maybe this is why I start leaning towards him recruiting to get more
Mhm.
people on his side, and him realizing he needs a like not necessarily a family like Mando was longing for, like an actual
Mhm.
like family
Yeah.
to connect with. I don't necessarily think he's looking for that per se, but a family in terms of just a group of people that are going to be on his side that he can count on. That's more than just Fennec, who's indebted to him, basically. And
Yeah, there's
now
something
they're a
deeper
team.
there. We don't even know that whole story. I don't
Yeah,
think.
that's true. We don't. So
There's something
I
there.
feel like a lot of
think that
Fennec
might be
stuff
where
is
Mando
coming up.
comes in.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of because
Fennec's
especially
in-
even last chapter was very little of Fennec. But
That'll
I
have to
do
fit
feel
into
like
the
Yeah.
flashbacks, won't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Oh,
as far as the
We'll have to see
Oh.
the Boba side of the rescue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Mando.
rescues her in the.
and possibly the
in
aftermath.
the-
He's got the armor,
So maybe that's part of what pulls him out is,
or at least
is-
part of the armor. He's
No,
got-
he doesn't have the armor.
He doesn't.
rescues
Doesn't.
her.
He's
yeah,
some-
he
He's
does.
in the guard,
It's just
right?
you
He's
hear
in
the
the- he's
spurs.
in
of
he
the
somehow has the
walking up.
spurs.
He's got the
Yeah.
spur. Yeah.
So
How does he
Yeah.
have the spurs? We don't see him training like a bantha. He's
He
got
must have
spurs on.
something.
Yeah, that's true.
He picked
but
up
I
some
bet we'll see
spurs.
that story play out
I think
Yeah.
so.
in the flashback.
I think you're right.
think
That
so.
could be the
Like,
next.
why do you stick with him? Why do you stay with her? There might be,
There's more to it.
yeah.
More
That
to
would
it.
be some
Explain.
good. I would like some good campfire talk scenes of Fennec, Boba. They're both okay. We were at the top of our
It's a
game.
love
She's
interest.
she
Yeah,
is
really.
killed.
That's what's more.
She is killed by a punk wannabe
Bounty hunter.
bounty hunter.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
I can't remember the word bounty hunter on the Boba Fett show.
This
Uh,
guy.
He's not
whoa,
about-
He's
He's not.
she's killed by this punk, not even killed by Mando. She's killed by this guy,
Yeah.
and he's gets killed by a burp. Like these two are
Right.
at the top of the
Right, a burp.
absolute top of the food chain,
Right.
and have this horrible
Yeah.
moment that literally they both have climbed out of the pits of
Yeah.
death. Essentially, they have that in common.
Right.
And yeah, I think some good
Yeah.
conversations of, well, what do we do now? Would be like I would also
Sure.
love give me the scene of, okay, we've done our thing with the child, we've helped Mando, we get out of there because Mando saying or Boba saying Luke would be a little awkward. They get out of there before that scene.
Yeah.
When does he go? Fennec, I think we should go be crime lords and go take over Jabba's palace. Like anything in between that time period too is also like flashback of
Right.
like, how did we get the
Right.
plan of
How do we go? Yeah.
when they go and they're on the hillside and he's getting the armor with Fennec? Is the plan already get the armor and go back to Jabba, or is
Go.
that something that happens after?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're necessarily gonna give us every single little
Right.
piece of information, but there's a lot there that I'm still wondering how we
I
get from
think-
Tusken Raiders and him and this whole family thing
I
all
still
the way
think
to
it's.
Crime Lord.
I still think it might be connected
Yeah.
because he could. Well, I mean, he comes back to Jabba's palace, but he's coming back there to do something specific for those. I think that's part of
Yeah.
it, being able to protect the people of the planet as well.
Yeah,
I think
Sure.
that might be part of it.
I like it.
Yeah, I still feel like I don't have a clear understanding of what is his purpose. Like I feel like with Mando, the
Mhm.
beginning, as soon as he found Grogu, we knew his purpose, his mission was we're getting him to someone that can train him. I'm looking after this youngling.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with Boba, I'm still trying to figure out what is his reason. I feel like it's got to be more than just like
Money.
I want to be the crime lord.
It's going to
I
become
wanna
clear,
be-
I think.
I think so too.
Very
I
soon.
think so too. But I'm trying to think, like, predict, like what.
I think it's tied
What
to
could
the.
it be?
I think it's tied to the Sand People.
You think so?
I think so.
Yeah.
If there's one thing we've learned from watching the way Favreau's storytelling, first of all, I love the slow burn storytelling. He did
Yeah.
the same thing with Mandalorian. Like the first couple episodes of Mandalorian, I was like, I love this, but also we just spent an entire
What are we doing?
chapter 2 on Sulka. So like
Right.
Yeah.
Favreau loves the themes of like teaching character over just
Yeah.
plot point.
Yeah,
of,
let's
like
develop
this,
the
this,
character.
this.
Right.
It's all a character journey, and we always joke because it's the George Lucas catchphrase, but the tone poem.
Tone poem.
It's he loves that style of,
Right.
of storytelling, along with like little weird stuff and like
Sure.
okay,
Right.
kicking Jawas off of their top deck with their beach chairs and everything they had on the top roof, hilarious.
It's awesome.
The thing climbing into Boba's nose, great,
Okay.
weird and awesome, and that's perfect. But now Mando, at the end of Mando's also in a similar thing of
right now.
at the
Yeah,
end of
yeah,
season
true.
2.
Yeah, what's he gonna do?
Is now what's his purpose?
Aside from the
he
dark
delivered
saber, it's
him.
like, what is it? Yeah.
He delivered. He had clarity and purpose of what he's doing, and now he's given this power, and he's like, I don't. It's very much. It's kind of the opposite. It's funny. Boba is like, I want power. I want respect now. But I think it is tied to how do we do this to kind of like best the people and the planet
Sure.
and
He
all
wants to
this
do it
stuff instead of
differently.
unorganized chaos.
Definitely does.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I want to bring some order to this. And Mando's like, I am just here to do this job. First it was, I'm just here to do a job bounty hunting. Then he decides, this isn't what I want to do anymore. I'm
Yeah.
protecting this child. I deliver it, and now Darksaber's in my hands. Oh, you have the power to rule Mandalore. Well, I don't even know. He
What?
didn't even know he thought they couldn't take their
Right,
helmets
right.
off 5 minutes ago.
Right.
He's like, I don't know anything about leading Mandalore. I was a child
I'm
I
not
was
even
a
sure
cult
where
child.
it is.
I was a child of the Watch. Yeah.
Right.
So I think that him finding his way and then Boba finding his way now of post Sarlacc pit, post bounty hunting. Where's it going? I just like the parallels.
I had a
opposite.
moment of clarity
Oh,
as you were
Oh.
talking.
did someone go?
Yeah, and then
Oh,
there it
what
is.
is it?
Moment of clarity. So there's two
the
ways
way.
to rule as a crime lord. One, you can rule by exploiting the weak, or you can rule by exploiting the other powerful. I think he's going to try to
Ooh.
protect the weak and rule by exploiting those arrogant
Yeah.
other tribes.
You mean similar to kind of what he just did with the Pikes?
Bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
That's his
think he's going to
first
try. But he's
step
going to
of-
be good to. He's gonna help the. He's
Yeah.
gonna help the Sand
And
People.
you think it's all gonna tie back to something that happens with the Sand People?
I think so. I think he's gonna have an allegiance with them that's gonna go
Yeah.
deep.
I've met. Yeah. I think
I
you're
like
right.
that though. If he wants the power to protect,
That makes it noble,
do-
right?
yeah.
I think that's cool. It'd be a noble way to kind of be
Yeah.
a crime lord.
Total
Robin Hood crime lord.
total speculation here.
I like it.
And I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts, especially Joe, because we've talked a little bit about what I'm about to say here on the cast before. I've been saying all along, and I could be
Oh,
way
boy.
off, but I always come back to the cloning thing
Right.
because I feel like every show they've tied to cloning. You
Guy's
guys
a
have heard me.
clonaholic
I say
over
this
there.
every episode. Do you think we see
Cloner.
any remainders of what's left of the Empire starting to take place on Tatooine or infiltrate the Sand People in some way? And that's kind of where he
That
gets
plays
a
into my
hatred,
theory.
a
Actually,
hatred towards
that's
that.
exactly what I think.
Or maybe it's the other syndicates or
Mhm.
something. The Hutts maybe something infiltrates the Sand People's land, and that's where he gets motivation to create control for himself and run things himself.
Absolutely, I think that's what ends it.
Something like that.
Something comes in. I thought it might have been something to do with either stormtroopers who are still around, because the hatred he had toward those stormtroopers in that attack in with on Mando.
Oh, yeah.
Face.
Mando.
There was rage
Yeah,
there
rage.
towards those,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
and he worked for the Empire at one point. So
Yeah.
I thought maybe there's something to do with Sand People, either stormtroopers or
what if the basis of all
I
of
don't
his
know.
hatred is just like
Sand.
and that's how it ties into Kenobi.
Him-
It's
him
just-
Size of the Kenobi.
him and
It's all
Anakin.
just
They're
gonna-
best buddies. They
Yeah.
Sand.
in their defense now, how many sand monsters come out of the sand? I understand why
Oh,
Anakin hates
man.
sand.
Sand.
Yeah,
It's
what
like
the?
I'm just trying to catch some rays, and all of a sudden, He's just trying to tan.
It's a Gorg.
And all of a sudden, big sand monster with
Oh, that
spider
thing.
legs.
6
comes
legs. Yeah, what the?
Out.
When we had the tiny little one this in chapter.
Oh,
he
welcome.
caught himself.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. So we all go to Jeff Goldblum. Sure. A little spice.
Chapter
in the jar.
Episode.
Spice
Calamari fly.
Calamari fly.
But yeah, we had another little. How many sand animals did we get to see?
Just
Oh,
even
man.
one. You're saying, yeah.
I thought the train was a crate dragon.
I did
did
too
too.
at first.
Is that a crate dragon?
I was like, no way, they're doing a crate dragon
Uh,
again. And then
It's
all of a
moving
sudden
awful
it starts.
fast on the. Whoa, that's a train.
I know.
Okay,
That was
let's,
cool seeing the train.
Perfect segue because we have to touch on this.
I'll allow it.
He says, I know how to stop the train. And he does this whole thing. We go to. Did you guys know ahead of time that I had heard there was speculation ahead of time that we would visit Tashi Station
Yeah.
based on one of the clips, which we end up meeting for those who are listening or watching our podcast. The man and the woman, the guy with the leather jacket,
Yep.
he's got the nice
Yeah.
70s hairdo,
Yes.
and the woman dressed in white. Star Wars: A New Hope, Episode 4. You can say episode when you say Episode 4. In the deleted scenes,
yeah.
there is a scene with Luke going to Tashi Station,
Yeah,
and Biggs
Biggs is there.
and Cammy and Fixer. Cammy and Fixer are his two best friends, along with Biggs,
We're
and these are Cammy and Fixer.
Yeah.
And if you
They
go
are.
on YouTube and look up
We gotta
that
go watch it
scene,
again.
Yeah.
they're dressed identically. It's very much they did it
So
intentional.
they're on like the top of the building there.
Yep, and then they go out on the balcony and
Yeah,
they've been
yeah,
talking.
yeah.
They call Luke Wormy.
Wormy.
Wormy is
Right.
his nickname. Like, all right, Wormy.
Right,
He's like,
Wormy.
well, guys, come on, I'm never getting out of here.
I'm never.
This is,
Such
you
a
know,
big
like,
tank
land.
cut. Enough whining, Luke. We can't have
Yeah,
that.
that's
We
perfect.
already have it.
That's
We already
perfect.
have- What's that flashing? It's
That's
not
perfect.
fair.
Cut. Print
That's
it.
perfect.
Print it. That's perfect.
Faster, more intense.
It's impossible.
So that
Wow.
is Tashi.
I
So
gotta go watch it now.
it's the exact
I'll be back.
layout of the whole bar scene in Tashi Station is the exact layout of that deleted scene.
Beautiful.
Mm.
It's on YouTube, but the whole thing's like a couple minutes long, and he's just walking around talking. And it's Biggs is the big hero. Biggs has just come back and like, well, what's the resistance like? He's like, oh, he's talking to him about all this
Yeah.
stuff, and Luke's like, oh, I got no purpose, and Luke's just all
Right.
upset. And then
getting
Cammy
out
and
of here.
Fixer are kind of are Luke's
Purpose.
buddies. This man
Right.
and woman, and these are those people. So
Yeah.
if you look up the deleted scenes, I encourage anyone to look at them because it's
And Luke thought he was never getting out of there.
I was never getting out of there.
Right.
They're still there.
I bring
Yeah.
this up also because I wonder, do these two now in the time of Boba Fett, do they know? Hey, whatever happened to our friend Wormy? Did he ever do anything? Do they have any idea what Wormy did for them? Do they have any idea that at this very moment, the second Death Star is just blown up? He's on Endor. He's a Jedi Master. He's doing all of this stuff. What happened to Wormy?
Talk about a sad class reunion for them.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? We're still hanging around. What do you know? Well, I destroyed the Death Star, I defeated evil,
Yeah.
redeemed
Twice.
my
So
father from the dark side.
Force.
I'm a Jedi Master like my father
I can
before
move
me.
things with my
Created
mind.
my
I can
lights.
make you- I'm a Jedi Master like my father.
We're still
before
drinking
me.
at Tashi Station. Okay.
How's blue milk? Yeah.
Okay. So anyone who wants to look that up,
Awesome.
I encourage it.
That's
It's
great.
it's
To go
really
look at
cool
that.
seeing the deleted scene there. It also just gives you some more big stuff. There's
Yeah.
not a ton
Yeah.
in the original.
Uh-uh.
That whole scene, honestly, with Boba going in there and just taking out those dudes,
Oh, I love
breaking
that.
the rifle,
The silhouette. You
Uh,
see the
on
shadow
the dude's
of him
head
too, first.
The only
breaks
thing
the
missing.
rifle on the guy's head.
Only thing missing. He didn't flip a coin to the bartender. It's the only thing.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
flip a
For
coin.
the
He did
mess.
take the sip though.
It's for the mess.
Sorry for the
Yeah.
mess. Yeah, it is.
Exactly.
Well, that's
That-
the difference
that
between
would've
him and Mando. Mando would have.
Yeah,
Han-
Han
Han
Solo
did.
would have.
Han
Boba
did.
Fett's
Yeah,
like,
true.
you're
Han-
welcome. Right.
Yeah.
Kisses.
He would just. Nope.
Wow. I have to
Yeah.
go watch that.
You have to watch Cammy
Yeah.
and Fixer.
I have another thought about Sand People. I wanted to run past you guys.
We'll allow it.
So my theory is, maybe this has come out and I missed it. My theory is the Tusken Raider in black is a woman.
I think so.
I've heard people say
It
that.
is.
Okay.
Yeah. The stunt actress.
yeah.
is-
It's just kind of got the headdress.
Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. Do we ever see a Tusken Raider without the
the facial stuff.
anything to see what they look like inside?
That's true.
Do we? Because part of the cool thing about making her a woman would be some kind of a reveal.
Yeah.
This powerful warrior.
To make him
The most powerful warrior is a woman.
Yeah.
The one that bested him.
That would be
And
a great
taught him how to
reveal. But
fight
if we
there.
never see it,
Yeah.
that would be
right
that
there.
would be a. I mean, of course we know. Boba Fett understands that with Fennec Shan. He's not a respecter of gender. He doesn't care.
No.
We
No.
just
Power's
see-
power.
Yeah.
We just,
But it would be cool to. I don't know if we've never seen a Sam person reveal.
you just know. You
But
just
they
see a
clip that
reveal.
out.
It's-
Not a respecter of gender. The
Right.
the Star Wars guys canceled.
you
Boom.
just see a reveal.
Boo.
Some beautiful woman. Then you just.
That might be a problem. How do you get the voice to go with it?
So, because I believe
She was so beautiful for a second.
for a second
Starts talking Tusken.
he just goes.
Put your mask back on.
Matter of fact, we'll both wear our helmets. Let's go find my armor.
that's the moment. Bo goes. So where is my armor? I think I've had enough.
Then swallow a lizard again.
I'm
'Cause I
crying.
think I'm seeing.
I'm crying.
A good fake romantic moment of her and him locking eyes. He said,
Where's
"Is
that
Fennec Shan
lizard?
still around?"
Where's the lizard?
Spice
Send me-
face?
send me to
Go to
another
find my
tree.
armor.
I need to forget this.
That brings it back to my armor. I gotta find it.
We gotta find one.
What have I done?
Hilarious. Oh man,
Oh, man,
that is
was
great.
fun. That
Do
was
we?
fun.
I can't wait to clip out that part of this episode.
That's just
That's
cut that
great.
right out. We'll fix that part. It's not like it's live or
We'll
anything.
post that.
No, that is perfect. I meant clips to post again.
Oh yeah,
to
Yeah, me too.
make
Trying to
this
cut
to
it out.
immortalize it.
yeah, I meant that too.
He's like,
You meant the feed cuts out and all of a sudden we're back.
oh,
Do we?
that
Do
was
we ever
fun.
see
love
them
it.
without the stuff on though?
I don't know. I feel like a part of the
Can
Tusken
you?
Raider is.
Can they be?
I just
I
thought
don't
that's
even
how they
know.
looked. I
Yeah,
thought that
it's
was
like
their
the
actual
leathery
face.
thing. Like they're. I don't even know.
I don't know.
It's
I had
not-
the same question.
It's got to be something. I mean, there's something
Yeah.
under
The,
there.
Yeah, there's got to be.
because
much
they
metal.
describe because
Yeah,
was
too
it in
much
the
metal
original
on their
trilogy they
eyes.
talk like they move like humans but they're not. Like
Yeah.
there's a thing like
Yeah.
there's a comment about like the Tuskens maybe from Old Ben, talking about them. But
I like the reference, by the way,
Oh.
to the walk in a straight line. So walk in a straight line, that's a tie to the Tuskens.
That was the other
It
thing.
did.
Yeah.
The sound of the train coming.
Oh,
What did it
yeah.
sound like?
Yeah, that
Sounded
that
like
sounded
Old
like
Ben.
Old
It
Ben.
was old Ben's sound.
It was.
Yep.
Here we thought he was trying to be a monster. He was being a train.
He was
We
being
thought,
a
and then in the special editions, we think he sounds like a drunk NASCAR fan or something. We're like, what is that?
Well, then they
What is
scatter.
going on? George is like, that's it. That's the
That's
one.
perfect.
You know
What's,
the Mario death sound? Cue that in.
what's funny is that's
Oh
the
my
corrected
goodness.
version.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
that's what you're
right.
saying?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the
the
special
corrected.
edition.
That's
I
from
didn't
George.
get it the first time. Now I nailed it.
George's like, I never really liked that scene with Greedo and Han. I think we should add a McClunky in there. That would
McClunky.
fix it. This is one of the best scenes.
Everybody knows
George,
it
just
means
leave it be.
That
Right.
is the greatest.
Curtains. Yeah.
What's
Oh,
the symbol
man.
for Tusken for curtains? We must have curtains.
Oh, I love it.
That is great.
So yeah, we finally
think
got
that's
some
interesting,
Tashi
though.
Station though. I love.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Finally got
I
some
do
Tashi.
think you're onto something though with that connection. Is that part of what makes him stick around longer? Whether it actually becomes a romantic thing or not, or is it more of a respect thing, like realizing?
I think
I
he
don't know.
realizes they need him.
Yeah,
He can do something really special. He can help them.
yeah.
I love.
There.
Yeah.
But I agreed. But I mean, for his sake too,
Mhm.
I think we're also seeing more of you're helping me as well.
Yeah, he's learning.
You've learned, like I'm learning how to survive without, kind of what we talked about earlier in the episode was
Mhm.
without necessarily needing the armor. You're teaching me these ways of
And
fighting.
with people,
Yeah,
with other, because he does it by
Sure.
himself.
yeah.
That's one of the reasons I really loved the way they showed the training sequences of Boba.
Yeah.
This is why it was important. I saw some people online that were like, oh, they kind of spent a long time of Boba with them trying to learn the speeder bikes, which I actually thought was a funny scene, like the way they played
Yeah.
it
So
off
good.
and the way they're practicing jumping on, and even the one
Sarah
guy who
just said that in the
Really?
chat. Said I like the scene when Boba was trying to teach the Tusken Raiders to jump on the bikes.
Yeah.
one of my favorite quotes in all of Star Wars now is the like a bantha. Like I think that's
Awesome.
That
fantastic.
meme
It's
went
so good.
around like
Right.
instantly.
But
Everyone
I just thought the comedy worked really well too. But it like the one who actually jumps on and is on it and then falls off too. It's like it's great.
It's awesome.
But
or go. It's just go and stop, and then the first thing that happens is it goes backwards.
Yeah.
The one thing he didn't mention, is like go forward or stop, and then it just shoots backwards.
Why it's great on a deeper meaning too, though, is it wasn't kind of like like archetypal. Okay, here's the guy I've got some knowledge. I'm gonna kind of teach. Look it up, kids. Probably didn't use it right.
Boba Fett word for the day: archetypal.
Guy who's got a bunch of knowledge or like figure Western comes into the town, shares some knowledge. The town's better for it, and they move on. This is them each helping each other. Boba does not. He is defeated by the warrior, and is like, show me that. I couldn't. He didn't even. He's got his little child stick and stuff like that, and to just destroy him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's got the great training sequence, and he's like, I am holding it like you. And he's doing these all frustrated and all this stuff. And they're teaching him how to be in tune with your weapon and how to. It's very almost Jedi-like as far as Luke's getting hit by all the blasters, and Luke's frustrated, and old Ben's like, no, you have to be in tune with your senses and doing all of this stuff. But then on the flip side, so he's training and he's learning all this, and then it cuts to him training them on the bikes and giving them the machines, and it's like,
don't take them apart.
I love that they
right after he says they're yours, he goes, no, these are mine.
These are mine. No.
Don't take them
but
apart.
I love the helping each other. I'm missing this part of me to kind of become whole as far as what I'm needing. You're being attacked by these outside forces. You don't have machines. Here's how you can defend yourselves better, and how you can just, like you said, if you needed to hide, this is a good way you can escape instead of going on. Someone's coming. There's nothing you can do there. Yeah. In fact, the scream actually draws more attention. It's not great.
It's shot less of
there's poor Banthas. How many Banthas were taken out? This
Did you also notice every single time they try to tug on the Banthas, when they hear something, the Banthas doesn't move.
They don't go anywhere.
I do love though when the bantha goes down. They now have a great bunker. They're all hiding behind them.
Right.
Who just continues taking fire, and it's just like
between those and the ones they sacrificed to the Crate Dragon and Mando. We're like,
oh man,
Banthas.
Yes.
But then they show the whole wild pack
Like
roaming
the
dunes.
Oh, that was cool.
That was cool.
I like that. They go
is there an
over
easier creature to capture, you think, than a bantha? Go on 0.2 miles an hour and just go round them up.
They're just
still lasso them.
they're the elephants of the desert.
They are.
What they are. Right there. They're huge. They're not going to try to run away from it too much, I don't think.
The original banthas actually elephants with
Maybe
like a dress on. A dress.
It might have been. Yes.
With a dress of fur.
A dress.
Just wearing.
Do you want to You ever wanted to class up your elephant? Yes. Give them a dress. Become Banthas of the Dune Sea. Oh man, I love it. But okay. So I've just got even some stuff written down here, just some points I just wanted to continue. As far as episode parts, the Pikes. Back to the Pikes.
Yeah.
For people who haven't watched the Clone Wars, we're big fans of the Clone Wars here. I highly recommend it. Yep. We always say this whenever we bring up the Clone Wars animated show. I started watching it because I had heard people who had raved about it. Nate and I had watched Rebels first. I knocked the mouse over. We had watched Rebels first, which actually came out after. And again, Clone Wars is told, and then it's finished later. But we watched Rebels, and immediately we're like, "Oh, this is great!" And we started watching Clone Wars, and we go, season one's a little tough. It's hard. At first, we were like, and I told Nate because I finished the whole show.
I think I called you at like midnight.
Nate calls and said, "I can't do it."
I was in school at the time at college, and I called him at like midnight after watching like 2 episodes. I was like, "Dude, I literally can't do this. I can't."
Trust me. And Uncle, you then later had a similar experience.
I had to come back a couple times.
Yeah.
Got a couple
You're like, I hear you guys. I know you say it's
down.
great. And then all of a sudden, when it hits the ground running, you're like, this is some of my favorite stuff in all of Star Wars.
Yeah.
The Pikes. Yeah. Joe, did you watch Clone Wars?
I did.
I was going to say, I think with Joe, I mentioned watching Clone Wars, and he had a similar thing where he was like, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
It was tough. And I just.
And it's long.
It's long. It's a long, tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little harder than getting through than
Random
Rebels.
episode on Christophsis. Yeah, it's
3 of them.
Real quick, Clone Wars synopsis. You liked it, just for the viewers.
Yeah, 100% recommend. If you don't watch it, it's a mistake. So.
Oh, there you go.
I like it.
There you go.
The Pikes.
The Pikes.
The Pikes who control. This all ties back, as I said at the very beginning. It was getting big Solo vibes.
Yeah.
The Pikes, or anyone who watched Clone Wars, they're interweaved in different storylines, but they are known for they're the syndicate of spice runners, which is why Boba immediately when he sees the Pikes,
He knows.
where's the spice?
Yeah,
and then the Pike's like, we don't. What is spice? He's like, what does spice look like? Like that. But the Pikes are tied into Kessel, which is in Solo. They're even very explicit about the Pikes run Kessel. It's one of the reasons why they're talking about slaves in Kessel. Like, you don't survive more than a year there. Like, they're talking about it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
And I love them just tying that in from Clone Wars, but also we're starting to see these other syndicates pop up. And this leads to some of our previous podcast episodes where we've talked about, would there be some Crimson Dawn? Would there be some different syndicates that are going to be, he's got the prayer hands going. That's always a good sign.
That is.
Unless you're like, just like, help me. But
Not always.
it's a bad sign.
Sometimes it's a terrible sign.
Sometimes it's a horrible sign. I immediately retract my statement of it always being a good sign. In fact, I'd say most times you're not in the best spot. Usually each
you're
time.
not in the best spot.
Yes.
I'm failing this class. Please help. That's a good sign.
Good
for
sign.
you.
Prayer hands going
Keep it up.
It's
Keep
going
failing. Keep it up.
But just makes me think.
Right.
The Pikes, a actual well-known syndicate, a different group is popping up. Now we've got the Hutts and we've got their thing. Is this? I'll just throw the character out I've mentioned before. Is
1,
there
2, 3.
Kira?
Kira.
Is there a Kira? Because they can do it. Now the timeline would be she would be older.
Yeah.
She'd be older. They'd have to,
It's
age
a
her.
perfect connection.
But this is a good way to tie in some of the stuff as far as what we've seen where Solo left off. And there's a whole Maul storyline that I don't want to ruin anybody who hasn't seen Rebels, but we know what Maul's doing or not doing at this time period. But as far as that whole storyline with Kira is very wide open.
Right.
We don't know where she is after that, and they've kind of intentionally there's some previous books that talk about Kira getting up to that point, but they don't really have anything. I don't know if the comics have gotten into it a little bit, but they haven't done a ton of Kira stuff as far as novels or shows or anything like that since. So it makes sense that she could be out there.
Yeah, Crimson Dawn, Infant's Nest,
if they can de-age people using actual technology, they can
Yeah.
put makeup on someone and make them look 20 years older. Just a thought.
for sure.
I think that we could see.
Is that a Boba? Is that
That's
a bet?
easier.
I say Boba Bet that we will see, and we've mentioned in the
Actual
past
Kira?
whether or not. What'd you say?
Actual Kira?
I think that there will be. I think that by the
Or Crimson
end of
Dawn.
this, I would say
A tease, Crimson Dawn.
a tease of Crimson Dawn, if not specifically Kira.
Wow.
Could I make an adjustment to our Boba Betts?
Yes.
Because I feel our Boba Betts are fuzzy right now.
Yeah. Did you notice how I said this
Yeah.
or this?
Right.
Yeah. That's not the way you bet.
Yes, I think we will.
In
I
Vegas,
also
they
think
don't say,
we may
"Well,
not.
you were close.
Could we?
We'll give you the money."
We'll give you the
You get the
money.
spice.
spice.
Just pay him.
You know what? You did.
Just
This
pay.
guy was smart. He left gray area. I say we give it to him. Says the house. They don't
He
say
was
that.
doing that.
Gives him a good place.
He was in a good place.
I was gonna say, if we make a Boba Bett, can we just do a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I like it.
If you have something to expound upon it, is that okay?
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Quick thumbs up, thumbs
Quick
down.
thumbs up.
Of we'll do.
Your bet is that, and we can say we are in.
Let's do
or
two.
we're out.
I say 2 quick speed rounds of Boba Betts. The first is
Whoa, okay.
first
Here
is
we
Crim-
go.
Let's get it.
first is not Kira but Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn, a mention or an appearance
Ooh.
of Crimson Dawn
in this season.
in this season of Book of Boba Fett. Thumbs up or thumbs down.
All at the same time?
We say 3, 2, 1, and then we go.
All right.
Do we go on one or do we go after one?
We'll say 3, 2, 1, shoot.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1, bet.
3, 2, 1, bet.
No, okay.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Oh!
Boo!
Boba boo. Boba boo. Boba boo.
Like a bantha.
So if you are dissenting, you should probably give a reason.
I like a bantha.
I don't know. I think
Not at all, or not this season.
Yeah, not this season.
We don't know
That's why I
confirmed though
specifically
that there'll
asked
be
this
multiple
season.
seasons.
Fair
We
enough.
don't know, but I just
Books are only so long.
That's right.
It's
Book
true,
2.
but then they make a sequel.
But then they do the Harry Potter. You just
Harry
make
Potter
another
did
book.
like a couple.
I don't know. I think
There were a couple
I
Harry
do
Potters.
think- I
Like,
think
you
they
can't
could
write another
tease
book.
some
Two of 'em.
stuff, but I just feel like there's a lot going on with the other syndicates, like the Hutts, and I think we'll still get into some, like maybe Bosk, if that comes into play at some
Dengar?
I
point.
want to see some.
So
Indonesia.
yeah, Dengar
Yeah.
maybe.
Oh.
We still have the connection with Black K. So I just think there's a lot of stuff that could happen in this season with other bounty hunters, other syndicates.
I think it might be too much. You're saying
It might be a little too much.
Got it.
I don't think it's off the table. But if I had to make a bet on a thumbs up or thumbs down, I'm going thumbs down for this
Thumbs down.
season.
And you
But
did.
I did.
You did have to make a
I
bet.
did. I
Where's
had to.
Forlom? That's what I want to know.
Oh man,
I like it.
I've spent
Yeah,
hours
where are these
searching for
droids
him on
running
Outer
off
Rim.
to?
Yes.
Never
It's like,
find
this
that
is
guy.
all Outer Rim is.
He's free if I
True.
get him.
This is
Dude,
all
droids
time.
running off. How about the little mini General Grievous looking train conductor? Just where's he going?
Yeah,
Right.
what was
He's-
that?
He's like, I'm not dealing with you, and just yeets, and then just
And
looks
was
at him and goes.
Awesome.
What
Just
if
like
he
walks
starts
away.
screwing off and he turns around and goes, and you're like,
and why?
Space
Go on.
General Grievous.
Grievous? It's Grievous.
Grievous.
Why was the droid also smart enough to not just ditch the train, but also left the pikes? Like, doesn't he work for
Right,
the pikes?
right.
just
I'm
I'm
outta
out
He's
of
a
here.
droid, man.
I'm out of here. I'm
It
living
gave
in
Do
me
what I
like
do.
vibes of the goofy little Transformers guy. I don't know. What
Oh,
his
yeah,
name
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
He was like the RC.
uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Thing jumped out. I was like, it's just destroyed, and then just crawls off.
My second round, I told you second
Oh, you
round.
got two.
gosh.
Okay,
Yeah.
There
hit
we
it.
go.
This is a little bit different.
Well, I'd hope it's not the same.
Any
This is the exact same
Ready?
thing.
Ready? Here it is.
ready?
Here it
Now
is.
we all bet
I
again
wanna
the same
re-bet.
thing. Oh, the same result. Boba Bett. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Why did my down go sideways?
Chat,
thumbs
while
up,
you're
thumbs down.
hey, chat, think of your Boba Betts
Yeah,
too,
we
and
have-
each other. We
any
can think of our own
mention
Boba
or
Betts. I'm coming
appearance?
to you.
I have underestimated Favreau in the past. So this is a big
Don't say
swing.
Luke.
Mace Windu. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, go ahead.
Any mention when we think of Boba Fett from the original trilogy, who do we think on the light side tied to Boba Fett? We think of our man Han Solo.
Han Solo.
Any now, whether it's an Alden, a de-aged Harrison who's like, I was asleep, I didn't know you were filming me. Like, it's just like, I'm done with Star Wars.
Where's my spice?
Where's my spice, Chewie?
Um,
Any mention or appearance of Han Solo in this series of Book of Boba Fett?
man.
To fill in time period.
Oh yeah, let them know who Han Solo is real quick.
Yeah,
If you read the
Solos.
comics.
the smuggler.
Yeah, no, I was gonna
No,
say.
the general. Oh yeah.
right. 12. No, it was 12.
I was watching
the
Force Awakens
timeline
today.
is okay. Is he still is Ben around and he and Leia are potentially having like is he back in? Because we know at a certain point in time he goes back to the smuggling and the Han Solo that we kind of see in the Force Awakens when he's not really with.
I believe what we get
right.
from Force Awakens is that when Ben, we don't really know exactly what Han does
We
kind of
don't
up to him,
necessarily
but
know
we
the
know
timeline,
that
Right?
when Ben falls,
Yeah.
they both go back to what they know is what Leia and
Okay.
Han say. As far as she really dives into the Resistance, Rebellion, the Republic, she dives back into the politician stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he really, and so she's like solely focused on this, which is one of the
Sure.
reasons I believe why she doesn't continue. Like I mean, it's told in some novels and even it's teased a little bit in The Rise of Skywalker that she at some point was doing Jedi training.
Yeah.
At some point, she then kind of makes a decision of I'm going the political route, and I think that when, at least the way they set it up in Force Awakens is that when Ben falls, it's a tough kind of break of their relationship if they don't know how
Right.
to handle it.
Yeah.
So they both even double down and dive into their stuff. He
Yeah.
goes off and kind of gives her
She
space,
takes
and
on
he
the
does his
Princess Leia.
smuggling stuff and
Yeah.
gets back into that. And she goes back to, even though I think she was involved in that from what you hear
Right.
kind of the books and stuff, but she's really focused on that. So
Yeah.
I think that's the time period as far as he may have been already dabbling and doing that stuff, but it sounds like he kind of just goes all the way back into it
right.
when that happens because that's his way of dealing with.
So if we had to
grief
assume or guess at this point,
he
things
very
are
much
still good.
still could be. I mean, I don't see him ever having a desk job
I
and
was
like
just-
Han just sitting
yeah.
in the
Right.
Resistance Republic. He's like, oh, okay, this is great. Like, I think he's always kind of doing his Han thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
So yeah, he'd be around. He'd be around at that
He's out
time.
there.
Right.
The question we've had on the podcast before, though, is this would be unlike anything they've ever done as far as the actor that would be cast, or that would be. So the thing with Luke, they de-aged Harrison Ford. They de-aged Mark Hamill, and they have a stunt actor, and they make.
There's
it
only
together, but
been
it's
one
still-
Luke actor.
There's only been one Luke, and
So-
it's Mark
Right.
Hamill.
And they even made the voice, created the voice.
Right,
With
right, right.
the trouble, and again, Favreau's smarter than me. He can do this stuff, just like we doubted that Luke would ever show up.
We did.
The trouble here, or the sticking point, is we've seen young Harrison Ford, relatively young Harrison Ford in his 30s, as original Han Solo in the original trilogy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is just a few years after that. We've also seen older Han Solo, older Harrison Ford in Force Awakens,
Right.
also as Harrison Ford. We've only seen anyone else play Han as a younger Alden Ehrenreich, playing younger than Harrison. This would be if Alden came back to play him for this time period. It would be Alden.
It would be
is pre-
between the Han we know.
It'd be in between the two Hans that we know, which could cause some confusion, or just be like, what? Like, was it? Not necessarily wasn't necessary, but like, why muddy the timeline as far as like it makes sense of like whenever
de-age, I feel like
when you have young Vito Corleone and it's Robert De Niro, you're like, oh great, we're going way back. It makes sense they have a different
Right.
actor play him. But when you're now in a time period that we know what Han looks like in this time period, and he looks like Harrison Ford,
yeah.
is that a tricky thing? As much as I loved Solo, I love the movie Solo, and I love Alden Ehrenreich's performance, it's just a tough thing. Or would they just like
Okay.
Like they would
de-age
do-
or do
they would do the
something?
weird-
I don't know.
Before you make your bet,
Mm.
I'm going to say that I made myself a promise that I would never again say yes or no based on what is
yeah.
possible.
Yeah, because they don't care
Not
about
doing
that.
that. So
Favreau will do it.
Right.
I'm only going to go. My vote will only be based on whether
What's
I
logical
think
for the
it
story.
would
Makes sense
fit.
storyline.
If there's a place for it in the story that I think is reasonable.
Okay.
That would be my yes or no.
And this is you to
This is thumbs
clarify
up or down.
clarify the question, and then we'll vote.
This is mention or appearance of directly of Han Solo in the Book of Boba Fett.
Mention or appearance.
Mention or appearance. The reason why I say mention is I think that there could be the only other thing I've thought of Han showing up and like having a super big role. I don't necessarily see it's the Book of Boba Fett. It's not the Han Solo
Sure.
show. But they both have ties with Black Chrysanthemum, so I think that there could be even a conversation or a something of Fennec asking like, oh, "Did you know who that was?" or something.
That'd
And
be
he's like,
awesome.
"Oh,
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, there's so and so, me, so and so," or there's a when he gets out of the Sarlacc pit, there's a conversation in the flashbacks of him talking with Fennec about what happened, like what's where have you been, or what happened to you? Oh, I was there. I was on a bounty. I was picking up. And just even a mention of like that, because just so much of Boba Fett is tied to in the fandom of Star Wars, in the history and canon of Star Wars, is tied to Han Solo.
Yeah.
Like you said, when we first talked about our first initial feelings towards Boba Fett was, well, he's the bad guy because he's going after our beloved Han Solo.
Yeah.
Even though we don't really
Even
know
though Han
at the
Solo's
time.
not a good guy.
He's not a good guy, but
He
we
owed him
love
a lot of
Han.
money. Right.
Yeah. So we're like, he's got to be on the other side. He's a bounty hunter. He's
Right.
he's kind of vicious,
Sure.
obviously. And they've doubled down on that in Mando. But
Sure.
all that to say, that's where I was coming at. The mention could be important for his character as far as talking about his emotional journey and
Sure.
of where he's come from. I don't know. That's why I think that a mention of Han could happen.
Yeah.
I think a bigger swing is the appearance of Han.
Sure.
So
So this is for either.
either. And
Well,
you can and if you say it, and if you say thumbs up or down, you can. If you give a thumbs up,
Clarify.
you can say I also think it's an appearance,
Okay.
or I just think it's a mention.
Okay.
Countdown.
29, 28,
Let's make it build it up. Start from
Yeah.
50.
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh,
my goodness.
Unanimous.
wow. for those listening,
You guys think that's crazy?
listening to this back,
I
that
thought I was going to
all
be the
up.
only one.
I'll
All
throw it
thumbs
to
up.
Uncle.
All thumbs up.
Was that merely a mention or an appearance?
My head says mention. My heart says appearance.
Does your heart?
I was actually playing it out in my head where he's showing some interaction where they have the face is Han Solo, but they show from the back he's actually doing something.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this. I was going back in my mind. Would Boba Fett consider Han Solo an enemy? I'm not.
Or more of an
sure.
acquaintance.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
He was a bounty.
He was business.
He was bounty.
Yeah.
And they were fighting at the end, but
Does he blame him for his
he
death?
did turn around
Ooh.
and bang him into the. He did hit him and
Yeah,
send him into
true.
the pit.
He was also blind.
He was also blind.
You know.
It's true.
Yeah.
But Luke Skywalker would also be.
I want to hear Boba reason like, I want to hate him,
I want to hate him, but I can't.
but I can't.
And
He was blind.
and Luke
Fennec's like, "You were
Skywalker
defeated by a blind
too.
man?"
He would have something to say to Luke Skywalker too.
Luke
true.
Skywalker, Jedi in general,
So
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Mace
Yeah.
Windu.
I think Han Solo would be something he would want to forget
Yeah.
because that how he got him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I
Joe?
say appearance. Or no, I
you
say
say,
Oh,
hey,
no
hey,
takebacks.
hey,
The
My-
wages were placed.
my heart's talking. I say mention.
Easy.
Mention.
Joe, what do you think? Was that thumbs
So-
up?
I would say mention. Can I sub Boba Bet on this?
Oh, I
Yeah.
like it.
I like it.
I like it.
Side a side
Little
side
side
side,
bet?
Little side bet?
side pot.
bet.
Here, all right.
Side bet. I think we might see. So Han Solo shows him carbonite. He gets thawed out. He falls.
Ooh.
Frozen block, as far as I know, is still on the wall in Boba's palace.
Ooh.
Oh, I
That's
also love they
cool.
called
What
it
if
Boba's Palace now
Boba's
instead of
Palace.
Jabba's Palace.
Yeah.
Love
Both pals.
I like
So
it.
it's
I like it.
sitting
Should we
there,
see him-
See
possibly,
the shape?
unless that Wanga went and pulled it out. But I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
That's a nice trophy to have up there, I guess.
Yeah, but
Although he did
looking at it.
escape.
he
maybe.
escaped. So maybe
It would be that would show the outline, right? The back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
That would be
Yeah.
cool.
That would be cool.
2
I
grams
like
of
that.
spice on that bet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thumbs up myself.
Oh, on my bet? Yeah, no, I'm all in.
I love it. Yeah, I'm almost identical with what Uncle said as far as my heart saying I would love to see it. It's hard because I'm like, I can see some story sense as to why it could happen in appearance. I think the Luke thing seemed a lot more obvious as far as, even though we just didn't
Even
want to
though
believe it.
thought-
We said
thought
that.
there
We
was
said,
no shot.
the obvious thing is that Dead Mace Windu is back.
Right.
Not
That was
the
our
not
strongest
the
That's way more
not the most
likely.
well-known Jedi in the galaxy at the time.
Who is
too,
actually
so-
training people?
Who was actually
right now.
training people, literally looking for younglings.
We could not have been more wrong.
But
So
that
we
is the
just-
last time I will ever when they did that with
Yeah.
Not
Luke
doing
and it
it
was Mark
anymore.
Hamill. I will never.
I'm gonna
be
err
like,
on the other side.
I don't
err
think
on-
that John Favreau not the. Like I said, I went on that whole tangent of how could they pull it off? Shut up, Mike. They can do it. It's not for
You
me
know
to
how they
figure
can
it
do it? Because it's impossible.
It's impossible.
That's how they can do it. Because
The
it's
best.
impossible.
Because that's impossible.
To fill in, Joe's listened obviously to the podcast, but this is our favorite little bit is of George Lucas in the making of the Phantom Menace. It's on YouTube. It's like a whole 2-hour
Chat,
documentary.
Look this up. You won't regret
And
it.
there's a great scene. There's a great scene in this making of the Phantom Menace where he's got the storyboards all out on the wall and all these producers and production crew and everybody's around him and he's got a pink highlighter and a yellow highlighter and he's going around Xing and marking pink or yellow versus on if it's going to be digital or it's going to be practical. And he's like, okay, this is a digital. It's practical. And he's just showing them because they have to decide how many sets they're going to build and the production and stuff and how they're doing this. And everyone's watching. He's
And
like,
Ted Hunt
this,
heads are nodding like,
yep.
Everyone's like,
what
yeah.
is he doing?
Gary Kurtz is over there smacking his
No
gum and they're
way.
like driving crazy.
Oh my
And he's
God.
let's see, digital, practical, digital. That's practical. Oh no, that's digital. He even does. He once he mess up and he's like, oh, I was
15
doing so well.
scenes or something.
Digital. He's doing this whole thing. It ends up the whole thing is like he's got like a few practical sets. Everything's digital, and everyone like literally as he's doing it, it shows people going. Like looking at
We
each
don't know
other,
how to
just
do
like
this.
looking at each other like, what are we doing? And he looks and he kind of sees it and he's like, I know we can do it. I know we can do it because I know we can do it because it's impossible. And like is not smiling or anything. They're like, we're like, okay, I know we can do it 'cause
I know we can do it.
I know
That's
we can do it 'cause
right.
it's impossible. It's kind of been George's entire motto of his whole life, though. It's like, this technology, I wanted to shoot this. It doesn't exist. Okay, we'll invent it.
Yeah.
Let's make it. And it's
Yeah.
like race cars and going fast.
Fashion.
Shout out to the 60s.
A lot of cuts.
So that's
so we know
what was I
you know
saying?
Favreau could do it because it's impossible.
Yeah.
So all that to say, I think it's an appearance.
An appearance.
Wow.
Oh wait, sorry. I did the same
Nope,
thing
too
Uncle
late.
did. I forgot what the
Too
word
late.
appearance means. I think it's a mention.
Appearance means.
Stumbler.
I think
Appearance
it's a
means we're gonna
mention.
hear his name, right? Yeah. That's what it means.
I think it's a mention. Sorry.
Mention. All
All
right.
that to say, I do not think it's an appearance. I would love to see it, and I think that it could make sense as far as it would fit. I don't think it would feel like they're jamming something into the story that doesn't belong. But I think it's I think it's a mention.
Agreed. Mention. I think it's a mention. Obviously, I'd love an appearance. I think it's a mention, though. What if they did it in a similar way, where he shows up for the last few minutes in the last chapter of the season, just like Luke?
Is Chewie more likely?
We talked about this
Yeah.
before the show started.
That's not even
we
a
asked
fact.
if
You just
Chewie
put
would
the,
show up.
put the costume on. Yeah.
Chewie
Yeah.
BYK.
Jonas.
Whoa.
What if we had Chewie on Boba's side? No, he wouldn't be.
Chewie?
But I feel like Chewie and Han are going.
They're still
hand in
together.
hand
They're
now.
still out there
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, I just think Chewie. It's gonna end. They're on the Falcon. Chewie and Black Chrysanthemum are playing hollow chess for the galaxy. The state of
Awesome.
the galaxy. And all of a sudden he wins. I'm the crime lord, and it's
Right.
just
And they, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Could
we're.
be.
It's not an official Boba Bett.
No.
To be
Yeah.
clear.
I think we'll get a mention. I think we'll get
Mention.
a mention for. Do we? Yeah. Do we think it would be something that is to come, or a mention of stuff that's already happened? Or do we think it's like-
So kind of like my Fennec Boba campfire scenario I was talking about.
Right.
It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
romantic. Just talking about. I don't know why I'm talking about like this now.
now.
But-
I don't know.
Where he's talking about some stuff and it's like a mention of him because of his past. You're saying?
Yeah, if
Yeah.
it's something
His past
because
experience?
of the past, or is it something because
Why aren't you-
something's coming
yeah,
up?
why aren't you a
where
bounty hunter anymore? My last experience was not good, right?
they're- Right.
Would you like to expand? I
It
was
was
I was killed by a
by a
blind Boba.
a blind Han Solo.
blind Han Solo.
Han Solo.
Yeah.
I think it may be a flashback.
Flashback.
If it's a flashback, you could see him, right?
Yeah.
Flashback.
Interesting.
See him
Dude.
as
I like Joe's
Yes.
idea a lot. It's a memory of I don't
like
know.
that. I like that
don't-
too.
It could be just him
reference to
talking
that.
about somebody that's still out there.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't have an opinion either
I
way.
like
on
we
that.
talked
the-
in the past that Lando's around too.
Lando.
But then you have the
True.
same. You have the same.
Same issue with
same
yeah,
issue.
I do
Glover.
think we'll see. I do think we'll see the what do they call it? The freezing thing.
Carbonite.
Carbonite.
Yep.
Uh.
The brick? I don't know.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
Utini,
yeah.
Suka,
Suka, something.
The freezer, the human freezer.
the human freezer.
I think I think we might see it.
That'd be
I
cool.
I
as
think
a-
it'd be cool.
That's like an easy just
That'd be a
nugget.
cool
In the palace,
shot,
You
man.
just swing. Just into
Does
the
like
palace.
that.
Jabba seem like a tidy person that he would clean up, or was that just sitting there? Yeah, it might be
To
sitting-
Jabba, does anything about Jabba seem tidy?
Exactly.
Right.
I think it's
I
still
don't
sitting
think
there.
So
One
I
more
think it's
salacious
possible.
beat crumb, but I think he was on the barge when it blew up. So
Unless he hopped on Max Rio's
Right.
back and the whole band went.
I just escaped together out the
Just
backside.
drove out. That's like,
He puts the radio
over the dune. And just off in the distance.
Oh man,
That's the
Get
cut
more
scene.
Max, yeah, Max
Yeah.
Rebo in the band.
Man, I got a bet for you.
Oh.
That's
Oh.
exciting.
We all just get so
Whoa.
excited.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bet.
whoa, that's a big
Bets,
one.
bets,
You should have done this a long time ago.
relevancy.
Do we see Transdosians in the next chapter?
How many of them did we see sitting
I
out
say
there in
it-
the courtyard?
Is
Right.
that
Sticking-
is
showing all
that
of them.
is the next episode? My bet is the
Going to
next
that
episode
syndicate?
is that
The Knights of the Round Boba.
the Knights of the
Yep, I'm sticking to it. The
That's
meeting.
my
over
bet.
too.
Next
The meeting.
episode.
Meeting.
3, 2,
Yeah, this is
1.
Golden
Vote.
buzzer.
Golden buzzer. All right.
I think that's
Right?
all the spice.
All the
I
spice.
think that's
I'm all
That's
in.
a drop. bucket
that
of
feels
spice.
like
I mean, that's
it's really the only. It's some of the only stuff from the trailers we
It's
still haven't gotten
left.
yet. That and we haven't seen anything of Slave One yet.
True.
No. We saw the flashback on screen.
True.
though.
Yeah.
we
sorry,
did.
sorry.
Technically.
Slave
Well
One
done,
on
Joe.
In the
Well done.
current-
in the TV spots and in the trailer they show Slave One on him going into the garage and
Yes.
seeing it there,
Yeah.
and then also it looks like flying away from. Does he get off world? Is he on Tatooine
I think
this
we leave
entire
world
time?
at some point.
Yeah.
I think so. I think we leave world at some point, potentially to recruit or get more people. I don't know.
Uncle
he's-
seems hesitant about that.
Or
one.
he's got,
he was doing this a lot.
or he's just tracking business. He's
that's
not letting
always a
people
good
get
sign.
away.
Yeah.
That's always a good sign.
Dude,
Yeah.
ooh,
This-
ooh.
and
This and
You just made me think of something. Do we see Boba take a trip to Nal Hutta?
I like how you're doing that.
this is also a big karate
Nal
chop. huh?
Hutta.
Now how to-
Do we see Boba take a
Ooh.
trip
Try-
to talk directly to some
Preemptive.
huts?
Like a preemptive.
Ooh.
Because they need permission, right, to take him
Oh,
out. Is he
yeah.
going to the
I would like to
source? Is
kill
he
your
going-
family.
I just mean, do we see him take care of more business?
That I need permission. I'd like to kill your family.
Do we see him go to Nal Hutta to try to take care of some more business there and address? At the source.
I think we
Ooh.
might see Nal Hutta. I don't know if
They've
he'll go
mentioned
there.
it.
Give me a full
be
scene of
awesome.
a million,
Huts.
a million
Huts.
huts. Give me them all.
Ton of huts.
I just want
I
some
don't know.
Zero.
Do we get names for the twins?
That's just it. That's
I
just
thought
the
it was
twins.
Jasper and Halcyon. No, I
I
just
mean,
made
it's
that
great.
up. I was
Jasper.
Jasper and
Jasper's
Halcyon.
great.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know if they
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
the twins.
The
We get
twins.
0. We're gonna get 1 and 2.
One and two.
Thing
Yeah,
one and
thing
thing
one.
two.
Hut one
They
and
were
Hut
shirts.
two.
Hut 1, Hut 2. It's a football play.
One,
Oh,
two,
oh, oh,
and a hike.
oh.
I love it.
Hut one.
Oh man.
I do. To answer your question, I do think we'll get some more of the meeting.
You
next
do.
episode.
All right.
Yeah, that's my golden buzzer.
Yeah.
Even though I
Of
think
them-
I golden buzzer
them
that
at-
for this one, but
Them at the table,
Beautiful.
is that what you're saying?
yeah, the table.
Yeah. We did golden buzzer. We thought for sure it was
we
coming.
thought for sure.
Yeah.
I thought that was happening the first one.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
they keep again. I just love that this is the second chapter in, and we've already gotten. They're throwing in Black Chrysanthemum. They're
I
throwing in
know.
huts. I'm like, where in? This is the same. It's kind of the same feeling that you get at the end of the first chapter of Mando, where you're like, I kind of get what Mando's about, and I'm loving it. I'm loving this bounty hunter, trying to find out. He's going on this. We got IG-11,
I got a great
Baby
bet.
Yoda. What is now?
What
Then
is
we're
this?
me like, what is this show?
Yeah.
And I feel like already we have the themes and we know what the show is about at its core as far as his identity. Where the storyline is going to go, just like Mando season 2, I could never have predicted that it was going to go off, and we'd have at the end of season 1, I guess they teased the dark saber and all these
Sure.
things. But I feel like Boba's not that it's going to be as big because I think that it is supposed to be more confined because it's more of him ruling on Tatooine is him being a crime lord.
Yeah.
But I do think there's going to be characters and different things that we're like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. If they're already showing huts and other Wookiees this early, I'm excited for what they haven't shown us yet.
Man.
I'm gonna throw a random one out there, left field.
A Boba Bett?
Boba Bett.
Okay.
We'll do a thumbs up, thumbs down. Chat, if you're listening,
Okay.
still awake. We can
You're still
In the chat.
thumbs up or thumbs down. Chat, you can do it with us.
I love it. It sounds like you're calling
Ready?
him Chad.
Chad.
Chad, if you're still
Chad.
awake.
Chad.
Chat's kind of a Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
This person is in the realm, I guess, of the smuggling bounty hunter kind of world, right? Do we see thumbs up, thumbs down? Maz. Do we see Maz
Ooh,
at
we
some
mentioned
point?
She has history
Maz.
with, I like that
I
Wookiee.
like that Wookiee.
Do we see
Han
Maz
Solo.
So she does.
at some point?
Man.
I was watching Force Awakens today. They had the marathon today of
Really?
Force Awakens,
I
Last
caught Last
Jedi,
Jedi. Yeah.
and
Part of it.
Rise of Skywalker. I just love Maz's character.
I know.
great.
I feel
Very
like there's
good.
more
Lupita
to her
Nyong'o.
that's involved in this, and I feel like we could. I don't know. I guess we can
Man.
do a countdown.
For
But
Maz, do we see Maz? Is that what
I
you're
just
saying?
kind of came across my mind. I thought we'd throw it out there.
Mention or appearance again
Mentioned or appearance.
in this season.
3, 2, 1.
All thumbs down.
Oh man.
As much as I would love to see it.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
I would
just
love
couldn't
more
place
Maz.
where I would put it right at that moment.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking.
I
is
agree.
The
I don't know
tie-in.
what the story would be to tie in, but that just made me think if like any of these other when you mentioned, like when we were talking about Bosk or what other characters could we see?
Yeah.
She was someone in that world that's like, oh, I thought that's a character. You could come across her, or it would just be something in the background. Or I don't know.
Right.
If they did that, I think it would be kind of like that. Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't be a big thing. It would be like we're just kind of throwing this out there.
Yeah.
Because that I don't think we'll see her or hear about her. But I was trying to think of because I know we've talked about on the show before what with Filoni, who
Yeah.
always tying in his characters and stuff. What characters could we potentially see? And I'll ask Joe this too because we haven't got his input yet on that. Is what other characters? It could be none, but do you think we could potentially see in this show? And we mentioned people like Bosk before. Are there any that you could think of that might tie in? Maybe, and you guys can address it as well. But
Hondo Onaka.
Oh, I like that one.
Oh.
Pirate comes in.
I
mean,
like that one a
Hondo.
lot.
Love to see live
Hondo.
action Hondo.
Hondo. I didn't even think about
Ezra Bridger.
Ezra
Hondo.
Bridger.
I would love to see Hondo.
that.
I
be
would love
fantastic.
Hondo.
Ezra always goes by Jabba the Hutt. I mean, hey,
Jabba,
there's
he
a
does
tie-in.
go by Jabba
Right.
the Hutt.
So, I would love to see a little.
Jabba the Hutt.
Jabba the
Hutt.
If anyone knows anything
Sarah
about
with the
any
thumbs
huts,
down.
they'd be
Not
like,
even
you're a
close.
human. No,
Can't be.
you're not a giant 1,000-pound slug.
I know.
So they seem to have rescued. They seem to have captured
Someone
someone named Jabba the
Jabba
Hutt.
the Hutt.
All right, slime him in here. No, he's a boy. Okay, kill him.
Because it's not him.
It's not
It's
Jabba.
not him.
Man, I would love that. Well, that brought another name to mind. Are we gonna vote on that?
Oh, we
On
can-
wait, what was it?
Is that a
Hondo?
Hondo?
Hondo. Ooh.
Was that a bet?
It's up to you.
Oh,
I
sure,
don't
it's a
know.
bet now.
Okay.
Sure, all right. We can play. We can wait.
Man, that's another heart
I feel like
yes.
That's a heart yes and a head.
Give me a second to figure out where he
Not
fits
sure.
in.
He
I
just
would
shows
love
up
to
all
see
the
him.
time, though. That's the thing.
That is true. That's
is
kind of
true.
his
He's
thing.
like out of these
He
Clone Wars.
doesn't
He's
fit
there.
in. That's
Rebels,
the thing.
he's just there.
That's his
So
thing.
how old would he be? Where would it's
Yeah.
like right in
Here's
there?
the thing with
His
these
species
alien
lives
people, we
beyond
don't
that.
know
Who
how
knows?
old they could be. However
That's right.
old.
It's right in
Doesn't
there.
matter, really, right?
Yeah.
Who knows how old that he lives?
Alien type.
He could
creatures.
be 1,000.
Yoda's 900. We don't.
Right.
I have no idea.
No.
You have to de-age
The
Yoda.
Wookiees
It
are
looks the same.
hundreds of years old.
Is he the same race as the bike?
Man, what a great
Big man?
character.
Pirates?
I don't
Pirates? Maybe not
know.
Hondo himself, but some of those pirates.
Maybe.
Looks similar
Yeah,
now
they
that
They
you
had
mention
some
it.
horns,
Face
some
spikes,
horns.
though.
Did have some
I
spikes.
don't know what race that's called.
Yeah, horn spikes.
Horn spikes, yeah. Spike voice, spiky voice.
The spikes.
Spiky bikers.
Spike.
What
Hey,
is
we're
Hondo?
the spiky boys. Let's ride, boys.
Spikes up!
Spikes.
Like a
Spike-
panther!
Spice up.
Oh, I love it.
Amazing.
Oh man.
I don't know. I just feel like they could easily throw him in there, but then
Yeah.
he could also just not be part of the story too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like Bosk is someone that will
Boss,
be.
like, makes sense, yeah.
Just because he's already been in the Boba Fett world. They've
And
been
we've seen all those
connected.
Transdosions.
Yeah, and we've
Yeah.
seen the Transdosions. I
We
feel
were
like
just
we
talking
could
about
see
it. There was
Bosk.
like 12 of them in the last
I know.
Yeah.
last chapter. They're
Not
just
a
in the
sleeping-
streets watching them.
Not a sleeping
Yeah.
Yeah.
god.
Uh-huh.
Sarah's giving a thumbs up for Hondo.
Ooh, I like.
Oh,
I like that.
I
Yeah, you
really
like
like the
that.
Hondo one. I would
Do I
love
want
to see
Hondo? Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. I want some Hondo.
Yeah.
Hondo.
Man.
Hondo.
I love it. It tie into Galaxy's Edge. They love
love-
Hondo at
They
Galaxy's
love
Edge.
Hondo. Galaxy's Edge. That's
Little
true.
Smuggler's Run.
Yeah. Man, I don't know.
My heart
I'm
says
trying to think of more people too that could tie
of
in.
other potentials.
potentials. Yeah.
Well, the other one that
Just
I
trying
was
to throw
thinking
out.
is Cad Bane.
yeah.
True. I've seen a lot of people pushing for.
And that'd be
Cad
cool.
Bane.
Anytime
also, just the tie with Fennec and that
Right.
batch too.
Right.
They-
They're both,
yeah.
they're both hunting
We
for
s-
Omega.
yeah.
They tie him. Yeah.
Omega. They're tied to Omega.
Omega. Cad Bane was. He had a lot of interaction with Hondo.
Hondo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
kinda-
And
And,
Fennec.
Yeah.
And Fennec.
They're
and-
all kind of
Fennec and-
connected.
Or Sing or whatever. Antenna Girl.
Or a sing.
Mm. Yeah. Man.
What
I
I-
would.
what I-
I think Cad Bane would be one of the more. He'd be one of the guys I probably want more.
Yeah,
than
that'd be
What did
so
I joke
cool.
around before and say, give me a flashback to a young Tobias Beckett? Just give me,
Young
Yeah.
Tobias.
because Beckett's dead, long dead at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Give me a young.
Well, think
young
about where
Boba,
these
young Beckett.
Well, like Cad Bane. Well, any of these guys. Think of about what would Boba need to hire a bounty hunter for some reason?
Right, because
but-
he's the crime lord. He
Right.
would be hiring other he wouldn't be doing everything himself.
Right.
He would. That's kind of I guess where I was going with some of the.
He would need a
recruiting.
connection with.
Recruiting, yeah, or, yeah.
A little bit of
Right.
Grief Karga.
Grief.
Ooh.
He's not doing the bigger picture.
Yeah.
The bigger
No.
picture state of Mandalore type stuff
Interesting.
that Mando seems to be headed towards.
Interesting.
Possible. We mentioned do we see Cobb Vanth?
Man, I think we almost have to.
I feel like we do.
Don't
As
we?
far as the
I feel like we do, and I feel like we see him not. Well,
Oh, maybe no, we don't
in a
have to. I guess.
flashback.
We don't have to
because he's doing
think
his
we
own
because
thing
it's already
as far as-
past to Mando and
but do we
It's
see
past the
him
Mando time.
see him with the armor and not just immediately go for it? In one of the flashbacks.
that's the
potentially?
question. Mm-hmm.
Like, do we see him? But then he's not. It's not time yet for him to go after the armor
Yeah.
because we know that he mentioned that
He mentions
he
him.
knows that he's got
Talking
the
about
armor.
my armor you got from Cobb Vanth.
Right.
Yeah, he knows
Got
that Cobb
So
Vanth
he
had it.
had it.
yeah, so he knows that he had it.
That's right.
So he had to have seen.
So
it
there was
at
a
some
reason
point.
he didn't do it.
He's
Great
walking.
track.
Just,
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Nope,
I guess not.
Like a great dragon. No, he's riding great
like a
dragon.
great trick.
Yeah,
man.
I don't. Yeah, man. Interesting.
Yeah, there's just
Yeah.
there's so much as one more thing about talking about the gaffy stick and his new weapon being created.
Yeah.
I saw people posting this on Twitter that the set of first of all, the parallels to this new armor. In Mando in Mandalorian, you have the armor who's building the Beskar
Yep.
stuff.
Little
And
workbench.
Tusken, you have the Tusken armor who's helping him do all this stuff with the gaffy stick, and they're making his
Right.
weapon. That apparently that little design where it's not like really a hut, it's like some wreckage and all this stuff
Yeah.
is a direct replication of an old Ralph McQuarrie
Peace.
drawing that they never
Wow.
used.
Really?
They
Oh,
love the
man.
Ralph McQuarrie stuff that they've
That's awesome.
Yeah.
keep digging up with.
Wow.
Palpatine's throne was a Ralph McQuarrie original thing. as far
Spiders
as the
were.
Sith. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
spiders,
In Mando.
the ice
Yeah.
spiders, and then
Yep.
this was this is a spooky one.
The words.
Oh.
I
And
know.
then this was another
spooky.
Wow.
Ralph
Spiders.
McQuarrie, long
Yeah.
after his time, still giving stuff to Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
he's high on the list. We did a long time ago, Joe. We had a podcast where we talked about people responsible for the success of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Remember
Oh,
we were
yeah.
talking about like Kathy and George and obviously John Williams.
John Williams. Yeah.
Ralph McQuarrie is up there as far
Yeah.
as the bringing the ideas to life.
Oh
Sure.
man.
So much of his
Yeah.
artwork became obviously the design for the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
Your comparisons made me think of something that earlier you were talking a little bit about this too, but bringing it back with the workbench and building the what do they call it?
the gaffy stick.
Gaffy stick.
Mhm.
Also, you mentioned tied to Mando parallel.
Yeah.
It also gave me a tie to like a Jedi
Oh
like,
yeah.
with the going
Like
out to
Ilum?
like Ilum and looking. You go through an experience. The thing called the crystal calls to you.
Mm-hmm.
You find your kyber crystal. You go. It's a process of you learning, making your own lightsaber type thing. It's all you getting the pieces together. What kind of feels your style. And this was kind of like he had a spiritual moment with the gecko lizard thing, but then
Right.
it kind of sends him on this journey of seeing the flashback with the armor. It's like this.
Self-discovery.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
And so it's leading him, right? They literally said this will lead you, right? So it's like leading his way to find this, and then it all leads right to where he's now building his weapon and being embraced as coming on as a youngling would then become what, like a Jedi or part of the Order as a
Right.
Padawan, building your lightsaber. It's like a milestone in that, like aging in that process, and that's kind of a you
Yeah.
see that comparison here too of making something about making the weapon your own and unique
Yeah.
that we see here, because now it's not just tied to them or helping them. He is embracing
Yeah.
becoming part of
We
this
talked about that was
tribe.
one of the things we said. He'd become part of the tribe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that
getting
was
his
another
own wardrobe.
yeah.
Yeah, he's officially accepted as far as
Right.
True,
as,
and
part of the group.
you may have touched on this earlier too, but it adds because as soon as this episode or chapter ended, I was thinking, hell, it adds more depth to the black garments and stuff he has on underneath the armor.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was looking at it, and it was actually when I was thinking about making like thumbnails and stuff for the channel, I was comparing some of the old Boba Fett with white and gray like kind of look underneath the garments that we see him have in
Yep.
flashbacks compared to now with the black, and I was like, I kind of like it looks cool. It's obviously very different than what we picture of the traditional Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
Looks a little different, but I like it. But now it adds more depth to it's not just he's not just doing this for a different look.
Mm-hmm.
He's keeping it on with the armor over top, saying I'm not letting go of this either. Even though I've got my armor back, I'm still holding on to
It's
the
a part
Raiders.
of,
It's a
who he
part
is
of
now.
me now too. Yeah. So it's not that he's just ditching
For
that and
sure.
going back to the armor. He's just bringing the armor back to add on to.
And I
what
think
he's
that's
learned.
telling part of his motivation. I think
Yeah.
I really think it's left I think he's gonna be like a Robin Hood. I really do.
Yeah.
He's gonna try to
Steal
help.
from the rich
try
and
to-
give to the Boba.
I think he's gonna try to try to help
Pay your
people.
tribute.
I think he might try to help people with it. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting. We talked a little bit about this in the last episode on the podcast here was the balance between his morality and being good, but also keeping that Boba Fett image that everyone kind of has in their mind of the
Mhm.
bounty hunter, killer, crime lord type guy.
Right.
How will they balance that? And how will his character grow, too? Because we also don't just want the character to just stay the same.
Right.
We're going to see some character development. So
Mhm.
it'd be interesting how the show, we've only had 2 chapters now in this show, and be interesting to see how he develops and continues to grow
Mm.
morally with doing things with out of respect and not what Jabba did out of fear, but also remembering he's also mentioning clearly he is the crime lord. So he's not shying away. Like they're showing you
Great
he
guy.
still is this thing, but he's just doing it in a different way or maybe for a different purpose.
I think. Yep.
Yeah.
Both. I think. Yeah.
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 Any as we start to kind of wind down, any thoughts moving forward of like here's questions that I'm excited to get answers of, or like this is just where I think it's headed. We can go around. I mean, I'll start off real quick just since I was thinking of it.
Sure.
I think that the big thing that we keep talking about is I do think there's a tragedy coming for the Tuskens, is what I would predict. I predicted that is the thing that whether it
Pushes
wipes
him
them
out of
all
the
out as
tribe.
far as that group of
Yeah.
that tribe. I do think it's the thing that I hadn't really pieced it together until Uncle said in the episode tonight. So thank you. This is a good sign, as we've learned.
Welcome.
Welcome. It's always a good sign. And yeah, that's the two. It's always good signs. That could be the thing as far as he doesn't want the armor, and then this is
Sure.
the connecting piece of this pushes me to go get the armor because with the combination of both, just like I learned in my teaching and working with the Tuskens of giving them machines, but also learning of the Tusken way, like knowing the Tusken culture, that is how they are able to defeat the train, which represents just the
Right.
the machines that are over their head that are coming in can wipe them out if they're not prepared. And that Boba doesn't need to discard this side and embrace this side, or just discard this side and embrace this. It's the meeting of the middle of
Sure.
use the things that he has that make him Boba Fett and that have made him special, while learning and changing in the ways that he's learned from the Tuskens. And then how in general can he do this not to go start, like we joked around earlier, he's not learning from the Tuskens and going like, no, I'm going to go start a school.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I'm non-for-profit and I'm going to help out 1 million people.
Exactly.
It is, how do I do the things I want to do, but now in a way that we can organize this stuff so that it's not just complete bloodshed. That's why he mentions why I speak of conflict when cooperation can make us all rich.
Mm-hmm.
How can I clean up this so that the weak are not preyed upon? That's the thing that I think Uncle kept.
Yeah.
Like there's an
getting at.
underlying justice there.
How can we take out the ones who are doing it and going over the top when they don't need to, as far as the brutality of it? You want to get rich? Get rich. I'm
Yeah.
going to help you get rich. I want to get rich. I want power. You want power. Great. Let's not all die in the process.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And let's also not prey on the people who can't defend themselves the way that we can,
Mhm.
because we've got the
Yeah.
resources. I think that there's something in that. So the big thing is, how does he get from
Well,
there to that that process and what happens.
One more thought about that, because I think you're on the money. If he goes back without the armor, nobody knows who this guy is. He's just a clone.
Yeah.
If he goes back with the armor, that's Boba Fett.
It's Boba Fett.
That carries some weight.
True.
Yeah.
So he needs it. If he's going to start,
Yeah.
he needs to
He
be
can
Boba Fett
respect.
for that.
Yeah.
He has to be.
Yeah.
Just like the armor itself, how much respect did they give Cobb Vanth immediately in his
Yeah.
in his
Right.
in his town? They're like, well, he's got the Mandalorian armor.
Exactly.
This guy
This is your-
holds
Yeah.
respect. Where if Boba has the training and the physical combat that he learned from the Tuskens now, and actually can handle himself like that, but he also has the respect that comes with just the appearance.
Yeah.
That's the way that you can actually.
I think I'm with you
Do
on
it.
the tragedy of the Tusken
Tuskens.
Raiders coming soon.
I want to touch on
A
that
couple
because
episodes, I think.
It feels
maybe.
like they've built up the. I think Joe even hit at the very beginning of the episode of. I can say episode podcast. I always check myself first.
Yeah.
The child Tusken's so excited.
Yeah.
They've had a little journey. And
Oh,
at the beginning,
man.
he's the one who's pulling Boba around and
He
stuff. And
saved
he's
him.
like, this little jerk is annoying, and then
Right.
takes the credit, and he's holding the head like he did all of this stuff. But then he saves him, and now he's had this time with them where when Boba returns, the child's like, "Oh, Boba's back," and he's going and
Yeah.
he's a part of this. It feels like they're building all this up for just heartbreak.
He's gonna die.
It feels like there's.
Yeah. I think
it
so.
feels like a tragedy, another tragedy. Is
I think
got
so.
a question. Does the tragedy, if a tragedy comes, does it happen because of someone else, like the Pikes and like that type thing? Or does it happen because of something influenced from Boba?
Oh, does he
Now,
bring
for
upon
instance,
the?
Does he push a little too far? And by that I mean, this is just what you made me think of this. One of the things he's mentioned is that you guys aren't savages. You're smarter than what you just haven't been taught the
Mhm.
society stuff. Does he push them to try and embrace? Like, you guys need to be embraced into society. You guys are smart. You're fighters. You're warriors.
Mhm.
You're more than what
You don't need to hide.
you don't need to hide.
And then they don't
and
hide.
Then they
and-
don't hide,
Mm.
and they try to come in and be accepted, and that's when they get taken out
Wow,
and picked off. And now he feels like, I did this.
I caused it.
But I can
Mm.
help the other Tuskens out by becoming a crime lord and ruling these lands and giving them a territory to live
Mhm.
on. Giving them a space where they
Yeah.
can do what they want. They can still advance
Yeah.
in society and become more than what they are, just like these savages or whatever, and actually become a group of people that can be accepted. And the only way he thinks he can do that is if he becomes in control of the land and
Mhm.
can allow them
More power.
to do that.
I could see that.
I don't know.
That makes sense.
Joe, any thoughts moving forward as far as where you think it's headed, or just what's the piece of the puzzle you're looking forward to, or anything? We don't have structure here.
What is
No.
structure? Tragedy. Do you think it's like whole tribe, or like the kid dies, or like something happens, or like something happens
Or-
to like
Yeah.
the woman or something, or like the leader? There's like what's significant? You think the whole tribe?
Whole thing.
Well, I
Do
mean,
you
the
think-
Pikes picked off like 70% of them already.
That's
so-
what I
Do you
think.
think do you think that happens? Does Boba go off on something and he's not there, and he comes back to the tribe being wiped out, or has he somehow survived whatever this attack is, and now
Mm.
he's fought off whoever did it, and now he's out.
I think it could
okay, I'm
be
getting
a-
back in the game. Yeah, he comes back and they're
Like,
it's
do
an
the
Uncle,
Pikes
it's
come
an
back
Uncle
for
Ben
vengeance or
Owen
something?
situation where he comes back and
I think it
Uncle
could be-
Ben's roasting over an open fire.
Yep,
Unfortunately,
I think it could be Dances with Wolves scenario.
yeah, it's definitely Dances with Wolves. They must have watched. I feel like Favreau watched Dances with Wolves.
It's a great
and was
it's a
like,
great,
I watched it last year for the first time.
Mhm.
Kevin Costner.
It's a fish out of water kind of story. Become part of the tribe and I think
yeah.
I
It's
think
definitely
it might
big
be a
vibes
guide,
for
kind of
this.
a guide for what's going on because
Mhm.
it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Let's get Back to the Future vibes with the train now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With him
For
like
sure.
kicking in like 2 logs and the third one and the
Yes.
bros and
Holding on.
Right.
yeah, it was like the whole thing was like this is just Back to the Future.
I just
true.
wanted
Very.
Emmett! Clara! Clara! Go, Boba.
Oh, man.
Doc. Oh man.
Ah,
Love Back to the
Yeah.
Future.
before we wrap up,
I was.
I
there.
got
Big
one.
time.
I got
Big time. was like, this is
something I
straight
want
off
to
the
see.
cliff.
Here's one question I want to know. I want to see how he gets Slave One back.
Yeah.
How
Where's
does
it
that
been?
happen?
Yeah.
Or has it just
It's-
been laying dormant this whole time?
Like it's sitting there. Where was it? Where was it?
stored.
Where was it when he was at Jabba's palace? Like,
Yeah.
and then he's in the fight with the Rancor. He falls in there, climbs back out. He's taken prisoner. So the ship is sitting somewhere. Is it just the Jawas stole the armor in like 15 minutes? So
Oh, we saw what the Jawas did to Mando's ship before.
right.
I mean,
you
like,
think the
just
ship's just
ravaged it.
sitting there?
Yeah.
somewhere? I mean, I wonder because Jabba's dead.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're keeping him as a trophy or
Yeah.
maybe they think he's coming back. I would be interested to see how he gets reunited with that, and when and how that happens.
I mean, there's spaceports, right?
Yeah.
Mos Eisley or something. They left it there. Under the watchful eyes of pit droids.
Somebody, yeah, right, maybe.
just.
All right, maybe.
I'm just slave
droids are
just
just
flying by,
24/7
drops
shining
a
it.
charge in the
Oh
on
man,
the Sarlacc
That'd be
The pit
hilarious.
droids are like, any moment he's coming
He's
back.
coming back.
They just
Back.
keep going.
Ooh, I got one we didn't address yet. That female biker.
We haven't seen her yet.
We haven't seen her yet.
Kinda
And you
punk
thought
rock
you predicted
female
this
biker
this
from-
chapter.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
predicted
I
this
did
chapter. Do you
predict
think
it.
we can get that next chapter?
You know what? I predicted it for this chapter, so I'll go out on a limb and say I think we could get it next chapter.
Just double down.
I'm gonna go.
really?
Yes.
really risky.
Double
Yeah.
down.
Okay, I will say that we get both the Knights of the Round Boba scene,
The Knights of the Round Transition.
the
thought you were gonna say
to
the-
the Round
I
Transition.
thought you were gonna say we get both
The
the Knights of Ren.
Transition
and-
around
the Knights of Ren and
Wow.
Snoke in this.
And
in this
Snoke.
one. No, I think the girl
Yeah.
loves cloning, so be careful mentioning Snoke
I
around this
know.
guy.
There's
I
two of
know.
them.
We got it,
Um,
Amando.
We
Yeah, we
did.
get Snoke too. In this.
That's right.
I do think that we'll get the girl
Okay.
biker, and I think that we will get that table scene. That was just what I was saying. I think we'll get both of those this one.
Yeah.
I think this will be the final.
I think that
I
might be
predicted
true.
this before, but I think this will be the final. Finally, all the footage that we had seen pre-pilot,
Yeah.
pre-show will have aired by the end of this chapter.
So you're
I
predicting
agree with
Slave
that.
1 then too.
I agree with that.
what'd you say?
You're predicting Slave 1 this
I'm
one,
predicting
too.
it all. Yeah.
All of it. I'm double down.
Apparently, I mean that's what I just
And-
said. So I guess so. Yeah.
See, no going back now.
Yep. I think all of it. So, yeah.
Joe, any predictions or Boba?
We'll make that a
Boba-
meme.
I don't know. Wanna happens?
What better happen?
I think
Boba
we
better
get some
happens.
sort of flashback, like maybe one final flashback. Either it's like young Boba and maybe with Django. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
Django's head. I don't know. But there's
Mm.
something.
Dead Django's head.
He pulls the
Dead-
helmet off.
Does Dead Django's head make a cameo?
Just
Yeah.
The helmet comes off.
takes the helmet off.
Just-
Puts it on.
Daddy.
Are we saying Dead Django's head is an appearance or just a mention?
Or just a mention.
Man.
You'll mention the head. No, I think we'll get something. I don't know what it would be yet, but they're given vibes of like every time they flash back to Camino, it's like a little bit and it's a little like different.
Yeah.
There's like a vibe of something. Maybe he's with Django and Django like tells him something, or maybe it's like post Geonosis. Maybe it's like when he first starts to get involved.
Yeah.
In
Do you think
crime, like in Clone
yeah.
Wars and stuff.
Maybe we see Django, a little bit of Django action where he just kind of unleashes or Unchained. Do we see Django Unchained?
this guy?
At what point
Yeah,
did you hit that? What did that enter? Like how far into the
I heard the name Django and I thought Django.
Beautiful.
There's a movie about
And he
Django.
meets a German dentist.
He's Unchained.
Let me ask you this, Joe. Do you think
Do
we'll
we
get
Christoph
more?
Waltz in?
That was great.
Bounty hunting. He talks about bounty hunting. All ties together.
It all ties together.
Joe, let me ask you this. Going off of that, do you think could one of those things be another Camino? Do we see another Camino flashback in this?
There was some daddy,
That's nice.
some
We keep
teaching
teasing
from
it.
Django.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
That'd be
That's
cool.
something I think it'll be Camino. I don't think it would be I don't think it would bleed into like post Geonosis, like the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Like where he's like,
I feel
trying to,
like
kill
yeah,
and stuff like that. I don't know if it's gonna go there, but I feel like there's gonna be something else on Kamino. Like obviously they showed him like looking out the window.
I think so
Slave
too.
Come to
flying away.
ding,
Eh,
2
ding.
chapters in a row. They keep going back to Camino.
I think there's more to Kamino than what they've shown from him
Yeah.
as young, him being young, because more trauma. Because everything we've seen so far with him is just he was just
Sad.
a clone. He lived on Kamino until they went off, and that was it. Like we
What are you
didn't
doing,
see
Bubba?
anything
Just
really
staring at the waves,
tragic
Dad.
happen
Right.
for
That's all
him
we
on
did.
Right.
Kamino. But part of these dreams he's having are the tragedies that he's encountered, and they've gone back to Kamino multiple times.
Yeah.
But as far as we've seen, we haven't seen him witness any tragedies on Kamino.
Mhm.
It's just a place that he was, born or created that he's thinking back on. But is there something that a flashback that we get a little bit more info on why he has Kamino as a tragedy
Yeah.
outside of just the cloning? Or do we see, is part of that like
What?
him looking out and feeling like looking at the other clones that are aged older now,
Yeah.
and he feels like even here when everyone is me, I'm still not like them.
Yeah.
Like, is it one of those, like another look through the window, but it's giving off the idea of even here I'm not, I'm by myself type thing. I don't know. But
When Django flew away in that flashback, that wouldn't have been when he was going to like Geonosis or something because Bubba was already
it was
Bubba
with
was
him.
with him.
he was
Yeah.
with him, so that wouldn't have
Yeah, I just feel like they keep. I don't know. I feel like the Camino thing might be a little bit more than
Yeah,
just
from
him
the-
thinking
there's
back to
something-
what
I do
his
agree.
past
Mhm.
was. It's like
Yeah.
something tragic thing, or something that's reminding him of like there's other clones that are out there that are me, that are brothers, that are. I'm
Yeah.
different though because I'm younger than them because they were all aged.
Mhm.
They were all genetically.
I do
aged.
think it has a. I think it's. I don't think that Favreau or Filoni, Rodriguez, any of them who have been involved in this have put. I don't think they put that in there by accident.
right,
And I don't think they
It
come
could-
back to it. It's one thing if they have
Right.
it in the first chapter where they're like,
and they dress it again.
for people who haven't watched Boba in a
Yeah.
while, just a reminder. Bang! This is what happened. This is what happened. This is what happened. And now we're gonna show the Sarlacc pit stuff.
and you get
he's off and running.
comparisons with.
This again, the flash of. Okay, now he's like Joe was just saying. Now he's watching him leave. Now it's like we keep coming back to this time period. Is
Yeah.
there a specific incident that happened that was very, just
yeah.
influential on him or like shaped him as far as, okay, other than just his dad dying, obviously, but was there something on
What if-
Camino?
What if? Is it possible because they showed part of this comparison with the Camino stuff in this last chapter was him in the Sarlacc, and it was almost resembled like a drowning type thing.
Yeah.
Like he's suffocating in the Sarlacc,
Yeah.
and they were flashing back to like the rough waters and stuff too.
Mhm.
Is there some sort of tie to him and Camino? Is it possible he was there when we saw the fall
You mean
in
Bad Batch?
Bad Batch, and he survived that drowning type thing.
Oh.
Too. I don't know where he would have been, but I'm just saying, is there something more like that could be tied to, as opposed to just him thinking back to where he was born? I don't know.
It could be
Supposed
the
to
fact that it could be the fact that children of police officers every time their father leaves home, they wonder if it's the last time they're ever going to see him.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's a fear, and his dad's a bounty hunter taking on the toughest in the
Yeah,
galaxy. Every time he flies off, is it the last time Is this the last
Yeah.
time?
that's true.
Could
True.
be that
That's true, and that's
fear-
what he's thinking. Yeah,
that leaves an impression on him. And I
and then
actually
it
had
coming to the
another
point
thought.
where it is now just him.
It is, yeah.
Like because they
Am I gonna
show
be alone
that
from
with
now on?
the tie to Geonosis and him.
I have a
Finally.
theory about Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett's
Boba's
motivation, his
Boba
life
Fett.
motivation. You want to know what it
Ooh.
is?
I would love to know what it
You
is.
want to know why Boba Fett became a bounty hunter? One reason: to hunt down and kill Mace Windu. That's the only reason he became a bounty hunter.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we get
From that moment on, because we see that in Rebels,
Yeah,
Yep.
he becomes a bounty hunter to continue that path, to
yeah,
hunt down and kill Mace Windu.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
we
from
did.
then
I
on,
mean,
you
we
got to
do
make a
see that,
living
yeah.
while you're doing it. But that was his main task, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was out for Mace.
So, I think Mace might. Why couldn't we have a Mace Windu appearance in this thing?
Samuel L. Jackson has even said. I think he said.
a flashback.
A flashback.
Yeah.
What if there's a flashback
So
of
he's-
them finally confirming that Mace Windu did die, but it's Boba finding him.
I mean,
on
listen,
Coruscant.
Samuel was bald
On
then. He's
Coruscant.
bald
That's
now.
a direct connection to Boba Fett's whole life. We talk about
very-
does he hate Han? Does he hate Luke? If
He
there's
hates-
one person in the
hates
universe,
Hates.
Mace Windu is the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if we do
So,
see
I don't
a
know how it could
flashback
not be
to
now.
him on Coruscant, confirming for the fans that Mace is
Wow.
actually dead, and it's him looking down at and finding Mace.
I don't know.
He goes back like after all these years, and he goes to Coruscant, and there's just like this rotten decay. of Mace. Like, no one even swept him up off the ground
Just
at all.
gone.
there.
But he's still holding his lightsaber. And people are like, "Oh, what is
He
that?"
just
It
gets
was,
there just in time to see him flying off.
yeah.
He's like, I can finally.
Shoots him on the way down. Poof, poof,
Well,
poof,
all
poof.
right.
I like it.
I don't
just-
know. We'll see.
Well,
I just can't wait to see where the show ends. As far as they spend all this decades. We
I don't
talked
want
about
it
this
to
all the
end.
way since the 80s.
Right.
We talked about this, especially even last couple episodes of our podcast when Uncle was talking about when you saw him die, you always were like, kind of a weak way to go out. You were like,
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
so cool. He's the one we all like.
I always thought he could rocket out of there, right? I guess
Yeah.
he broke his rocket, but still, he can
Yeah.
somehow get out of there.
And
Boba
then
Fett.
burp.
That's
the
it.
way he goes out.
Little
But
Yeah.
green
they
smoke.
they take all this
Boo.
time and they have for years. It's like, will they do something with Boba Fett? Will they do something? Favreau asked to do a Boba Fett show, and they said no. But you can here's all these
Mando.
toys in the sandbox. You can do all
Here's
this
a
stuff,
knockoff.
and you can do basically a Boba Fett show. But we're taking this away. You can do anything else. Oh, okay.
huge success.
Then finally they're like, actually, John, you're really good at this.
No.
You can do,
There you go.
you can
That's
do
It's
Boba
working.
now. John's like, great. Now I have two
It's
Boba Fett shows.
working.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I
But
can
they
have Luke?
take
Okay.
all this time to bring him back. Does it end? Would they ever even kill him? Like, would they just end with his story as open? And because they don't want, I don't think they would want to have 30 years of
No
speculation.
way.
And in 8 episodes, they bring him back alive and
No.
kill him. So I don't think they would kill him.
way.
He's not.
But I do
dying.
wonder
Right,
where
old
they
age.
would set him.
He's got the Ahsoka treatment.
Would they set him?
Those two are never dying.
Yeah.
True. Now from Favreau.
Yeah.
Filoni will never kill Ahsoka.
No way.
Favreau will never
Filoni,
kill Boba.
Filoni, not to wish any ill on anyone. Filoni will die before Ahsoka dies. Is my prediction.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna predict anyone's
That'll
death,
be in his will.
but
You will not.
you will not. And I don't think Favreau's like, if you want to do something with Boba Fett as far as killing him, it ain't gonna be me because I've
Well,
fought forever to get him.
This
back
was
in.
the show he wanted to make first, right?
Yeah, this is the show that he wanted.
Why would
before
we
Mando.
not? Why would he not fight for another season? There's no way he's
I
going to be
think
happy
there
with
will
one.
be.
And
I
there's a
think there will
chance
be.
too that this is a one-off season, and then he's tied back into
It goes somewhere else.
Mando.
Mando.
Tied back into.
True.
I mean, we have no idea. One of the biggest questions of all of Star Wars right now. We know what
It's
to.
Yeah.
We don't know what to expect as far as exactly what's going to happen. We know the idea of what the Obi-Wan show is, as far as we know Hayden Christensen. We
Right.
talked about. We know the trauma he's going through. That's very public.
Yep.
Trauma is what happened
Yeah.
on Mustafar.
Mhm.
We have an idea of where Andor is going, as far as they talked about a spy thriller show,
Right.
the dirty side of the beginnings of the rebellion
Yeah.
and how you build a rebellion. But with as far as where Mando season 3 is going, we have no idea because it feels like we've talked about this before. It feels like the Grogu story arc is kind of complete. Not necessarily that they wouldn't bring him back because there'd be good reason to. He's a good character also.
Yeah.
We wonder where
Maybe
he
that
goes.
Calamari Flam.
But it did feel like they had from chapter 1 all the way to the end of season 2 was Mando's personal journey, along with this was the two characters of the show were Mando and Grogu.
Yeah.
And that's where all the marketing was, all the merchandise, all that stuff was
Yeah.
promoting these two because that was the show.
Yep.
Once he delivers them to Luke, Luke is the one who can give him now what he needs, not
Sure.
Mando.
Mm-hmm.
And so unless there's a big time jump, and it's like now he's had training, he's coming back, and now we're gonna see like Grogu fighting with
Grogu
lightsabers
in there,
stuff like
yeah.
that. There might be some clips or stuff, but it doesn't feel like that's necessarily the main most important thing. It's still Mando.
Still the Mandalorian show.
And
Right.
where it's headed is him with the Darksabers. The big elephant in the room is what does he do with the Darksaber? What happens to Moff Gideon? He's still there. He's a prisoner,
Yeah.
but he's still there.
Yeah.
What happens with Bo-Katan? Because Bo-Katan is now wrestling with her aggression towards
Yeah.
him of
Right.
what are we doing?
Right.
So I could see Boba tying back into that. But also, we have no idea where Mando season 3 is going. That was a long 10-minute answer of saying I don't know what's going on.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Which is great because it's like
You
it
do
could go
know.
anywhere.
Oh no, I don't
Wait,
know.
Uncle knows?
I know. I'm just not going to
got
tell
insight.
anybody.
Oh.
You said I don't know. He goes, yeah, I know. You know.
I know.
You do
I know that I don't know. I know that I don't know.
Yeah. No,
Yep.
that's great. I mean, I just can't wait for the next chapter. I feel like as soon as this one ended, well, as soon as it ended, I rewatched it. I was gonna say I was waiting for the next one, but I just immediately rewatched it. But yeah, I am. I can't wait for the next chapter of the Book of Boba Fett.
Maybe they'll
Love
make a
it.
book of the Book of Boba Fett.
Ooh.
Possibly.
Kind of cool.
I like it.
Possibly.
The
Is that a bet?
Not a bet.
The novella.
Not a bet.
The novel of Boba
That's a
Fett.
thumbs down.
It's a thumbs down.
I was
No
like,
for
I
me,
love.
dog.
This is a recap. I love the episode of our podcast we did where we had to talk about Jar Jar, and we were making our bets, our wish list. And I guess the rules weren't clear. Is it a genie wish where you get like 3 wishes, or it's like a Christmas wish list, like
Yeah.
right into Santa? And when we're talking
I
about,
jokingly
we're
said,
talking
well,
about
we're not
Jar
going to
Jar.
use one of our 3 wishes for that.
Yeah, and like,
Uncle's gonna
so I asked Uncle, I
3?
said, so is this official wish? And he said, oh, if it's a wish, no, I'm not going to use it as a wish. we went on for like
waste a
5
wish.
minutes how we really want to see Jar Jar come back in some capacity. And we're like, so you wish it? And he goes, oh, I don't wish it. I want it to happen, but I don't wish it. And then we're like,
I'm
well,
not
what is
wasting a
the
wish.
gray area here? Is there a difference between those?
It's not on my
I don't wanna
wish.
use
It's
that.
not on my wish list.
It's not my wish list.
I want it to happen.
I want it to
but
happen. Which then led into Uncle also can't go public with any official wish that's tied to the return of Jar Jar because he just comes from the era where it's just too soon.
Can't do it.
You said give you another 40 years.
Some wounds are too deep. It just takes time.
Oh man.
Jar Jar's
maybe
the
he'll
one.
maybe he'll get elected to another highly ranking public official and just ruin it again. Just kidding. We love Jar Jar. Now,
No.
Nate, tell
Yeah.
people where they can find us.
Well, first, Joe, where can they find you?
Oh, I like it.
Oh.
Where can they
Respect.
find
They
you? I
can
know
find
you're
me on the
streaming.
couch watching Star Wars.
All right.
Oh,
Plug your stuff. I know you're streaming.
Yeah. I do some streaming. Jman0170 on Twitch.
Yeah.
You can follow the same Jman0170 on Instagram. Those are really all I do. Some streaming,
Yeah.
some posting on Instagram. Yeah, games. Chatting. Play with this guy a lot.
Yeah, that's right.
This guy's all right.
You can find him here on Star Wars Guys every once in a while.
The
You
Star
find
Wars
online.
Guys podcast.
I was gonna say after I think I speak for the rest of us after the performance we just saw.
After
I would
the
go
performance.
out on a limb and say this is not the last time we'll see Joe on.
You want to make a bet? 1, 2, 3.
Hey!
Hey!
We all just
Hey!
boom. Uncle's keeping it alive. But this,
Yeah, no, well,
you did a good
that's
job,
gonna
like
be
a
our-
grimace.
got a good feeling we'll see him back on the show.
it's
for
gonna
sure.
be our thumbnail for the next show. It's just always going. Oh.
or this. It's just yeah. No. First off, Joe, we've been talking about getting you on the show for a long time. Finally got all the stuff we needed to make it work.
Hey,
and make
and he
it
brought
happen, so-
tribute, too.
And
did
that's
bring
right. He brought tribute. He brought pizza. He brought tribute to Star Wars Guys
One
podcast.
step up on the mayor right now.
He is one step up on the mayor.
Yeah.
He's one step up on the mayor. But thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. It was great having you on. Obviously, we've brought you up a lot on the show. You've been tuned in from about day one. So day one,
We appreciate
the Galaxy's Edge
Galaxy's
podcast.
Edge.
So it was nice to
Hey.
get him on here finally, and we'll
Yeah.
definitely
We
have
almost
him
got
back.
kicked out of Galaxy's Edge.
Sure. But yeah,
Multiple
we'll
times.
definitely have Joe back. So thanks for being here. And for those that are listening currently live on YouTube, or if you're listening back in audio form on all the podcast streaming platforms, we'd love to stay connected with you all. So thanks for keeping up with the chat. Thanks for commenting, being engaged. We'd love to answer your questions. Feel free to hop in on the Boba Betts with thumbs up, thumbs down, how many grams of spice you're putting in. And you can reach out to us with more comments or questions or topics. I know right now we're doing the Book of Boba Fett review. But when we get back into more of our just, random topics here and there for Star Wars, we'd love to know what you guys want us to cover. So give us topic ideas if you've got questions, maybe a certain character, a certain movie, we've done Star Wars music before. So whatever it may be, let us know what you want for us to cover. You can reach out to us on Instagram. That is @_Star Wars Guys. You can find us there. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Like a bantha.
I knew it was coming.
Oh man.